station. Sports Hub headlines.
Matthew Stafford threw 4 touchdown passes, and then the LA Rams hung on late to beat the Patriots yesterday 28-22 at Gillette Stadium. Drake May was 30 of 40 passing for 282 yards and a pair of scores, but he also threw a game-ending interception with just under 2 minutes left.
It's too high look, and it pops up the middle, and they're pretty good up front, rushing 5. So I try to kind of put it on him and kind of hit him over the linebacker. And Pop was thinking probably deep, but at the end of the day, just got to be on the same page.
May was also strip sacked in the first half, which led to an immediate Rams touchdown. The Patriots are now 3-8. They visit the Miami Dolphins this coming Sunday. Miami improved to 4-6 yesterday. They beat Las Vegas in South Florida 34-19. In other NFL news, Kansas City suffered their first loss of the season last night, 30-21 in Buffalo. The Bruins had yesterday off. They play Columbus at TD Garden tonight. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers have the pregame at 6:30 and the face-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. The Bruins sent forward Riley Tufte back to Providence yesterday, and both Brad Marchand and Mark Kastelik were missing from practice. Tyler Johnson has also rejoined the team. The Celtics' next game is tomorrow night at home against Cleveland. The Cavaliers will come to town undefeated. They improved to 15-0 last night with a 128-114 win over Charlotte. After that game is over, the Celtics visit the Washington Wizards Friday night. But first, they'll meet with President Joe Biden at the White House on Thursday to celebrate their NBA title one final time. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Feldman Geospatial. With offices in Boston and Worcester for all your survey services, you can count on Feldman to get it right from the ground up. FeldmanGeo.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
New England plays here.
Ball down the right side, there's a separation. Yes. Touchdown pass. Yes. Perfect dive from Drake May.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Afraid. Hello. 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 Hello.
He's naked. He has a sword.
Looping him up with a football.
98.5.
Bruins are back from the West Coast.
Cocaine and hookers. Yes. Na.
Is it okay to use this for the radio?
Yeah. Welcome to the show, you sweet bitch.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Hi, I'm Isaac.
Hi, Isaac. We are.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, guy from the Paul Feinbaum Show. We are Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. We're in the Town Fair Tire Studios. You watch us on YouTube. Go to YouTube and then search 98.5 The Sports Hub. We're on live, and then you can watch us all day. And then know that you can call us 617-779-0985. I'm a little distracted because someone left on Billiard TV, and they have a radar gun on the break. And this guy just went 27 miles an hour with that sumbitch.
Is this the Gomez Mora match?
Yeah, but this is the one where Gomez had the 10-7 lead going into the seventh rack.
Yeah.
So it's a little later in the match than you might be familiar with.
How many sponsors you think Billiard TV rakes in?
Well, I see Q-Tech is a big sponsor there based on the Dasher boards.
Well, that might be the tournament.
Fracking. It's Q-Tech fracking.
Ryan's doing a little bit of sleuthing today, and he figures that Joe Murray was the last person in studio watching TV, so perhaps he was placing some bets on some billiards.
I see.
Wow. Wow.
Yep.
There are some guys. There's one guy. First of all, it's very erotic how they move the stick. It's very much in a self-pleasure motion.
Yeah.
and then they have a glove on their non-dominant hand.
Well, that guy does, but
no, the other guy does too. He's got them on both.
oh, he's got him on both hands.
Yeah. So there you go. Billiard TV.
Nice shot, idiot. It's supposed to go in the pocket. These guys suck.
Oh, they left the door open for
no,
the guy.
he has it on his less dominant hand.
Yeah, thank you.
I
thought you were watching.
He's also wearing $4 sneakers. All right, so here's the deal. There's so much to get to with his sneakers. He's got like nurse sneakers on. All right, very good. Going into the show today, we have a meeting. We have a very long meeting, a very involved meeting.
Yeah.
Setting up the show. Everything is planned out to the T. And I know
nothing you happen here is off the cuff. This is all very orchestrated.
Like Jim Rome, it's all written down.
Yeah.
Who literally writes the scripts for his show.
We decide who's going to have what take on what subject, and then we mock argue those points. And then we write a lot of jokes. We have a lot of jokes written ahead of time.
What's funny is I'm not even making fun of Jim Rome when I say he writes out his scripts. I'm more just, and he's had far more success than I. But it's just fascinating to take that time to just sit there and like think and write and then read 3 hours of radio. Well, he takes, let's say he talks between commercials and calls. Let's say he talks 20 minutes an hour. So 2, 4, 6, an hour. He writes out an hour of talking.
That's a lot.
That's an hour of an audio book. I would argue that that's 75 pages of single-spaced writing. I'm not going to do it. Thank you.
So hoping I could coax some out of you.
Wow. All right, thank you, Adam. But what I did notice in our meeting was that Adam 12, we've discussed how Hardy wears cosplays as a municipal worker or as a tradesman, as he has gotten shirts. You had the guys who fixed the lights, right?
Boston Street Lighting Division, yeah.
Yeah, you had one of those sweatshirts on. So that's
Mike
Hardy.
Donaghy sent me a hoodie. Thank you again for that, Mike. Fantastic. It's Carhartt. It's nice.
So we know Hardy cosplays as a tradesman, but did you know what Adam 12 cosplays as?
Union guy.
Yep. He's got a Teamsters sweatshirt on. How'd you get that Teamsters sweatshirt? You part of a Teamsters union?
I am not part of a Teamsters union. I do support unions, though. As a quick
that is shocking.
As a quick aside,
as a communist,
I want to shout out the Beverly teachers that are on strike. Started that last week. That's coming into this week. I'm hoping they can get a resolution.
Your kids in Beverly
Standing
schools?
strong. No, but I have a friend that works in the Beverly school system, and
so
he's
you're
striking.
You're part of the system.
Got a big event happening today. Anyway,
I would like to know your opinion if your kids were in the Beverly school system.
This I would
it's
be
easy from Woburn.
I would be no. Woburn struck a couple of years ago, and I was behind that as well.
Were you behind the Newton teachers? Because that was ludicrous.
We talked about that.
Were you part of it?
Not happy about that. No, I wasn't part of it. I don't live.
No. Yeah. Were you supportive of what they got? They achieved nothing.
I remember you and I having conversations about that, but I didn't dig too deep into that because I didn't really have.
All I know is that I want teachers to make as much money as they can.
Yes,
with the Newton teachers strike, it seemed like they were willing to go a long way for very little. And then people have called and debated me on it.
I remember.
And it still seems to me like if you're gonna, you can't get in the habit. It's illegal for them to strike. So my thing is, if you're gonna strike, go all in. They're better. If you're being treated unfairly, really go for a resolution that is going to change the game and get you where you go. Because after all, you're supposed to be part of this job is altruistic, right? Like you got into education not for the money, you got into education to help kids. So you're hurting kids by not having school, which is a bridge I'd take if it was the payoff was huge. I feel that the Newton schools. It was something that was not necessary to hurt the children.
Hold on a second. They spent a lot of money too, didn't they? From the teachers union coffers.
And that was part of my thank you for mentioning that because that was about my point. Part of my point too is that if I was a teacher, I'd be like, you've just went through 75% of our union budget or escrow or whatever.
Yeah.
To fund this thing.
Some grown-up financial word. I don't know what it is either, but they had a war chest.
I can't speak on, the details of that strike. I'm not privy to them, but I'll say this: is a lot of times it's not just about pure finance. It's not just about getting a higher salary for the teachers that are working. A lot of times it's getting more positions added. It's getting support for kids in special education.
Yes,
there's a lot of moving parts.
They wanted
in these
a
strikes.
social worker in schools,
right?
Which I don't doubt is important, but I don't know if it's worth going through all your union money in keeping kids out of school for a week. You know what I'm saying? It seems like something that could have been rectified. Or if you're going to do it, all I'm saying is something should be really, really wrong.
Did you say out of your kids were out of school or your daughter was out of school for more than a week?
Maybe it was more than a week, yeah.
I think it was more than that.
And after COVID, which they completely bungled, and I don't know, that's probably not the local school district's fault, but certainly they didn't help. I mean,
11 days.
Do you want to know where the sweatshirt's from?
Real quick, though, if read the CDC, they admit they screwed the schools thing up. They could have gone back that fall. Go ahead. Every European country.
This all stems from I did wear my Teamsters Local 379 hoodie today that I received as a trade. A million years ago, I was working a bar gig at BCN.
No kidding. You have the sweatshirt on from a million years ago?
Yes.
All right. Very good.
And we were all out of T-shirts. We gave away all of our BCN T-shirts, and a gentleman said, I really want a T-shirt. He goes, I'll trade you this hoodie for the shirt you're wearing. So we did a little swap, so I got a free hoodie out of it.
Did you stand there bare-chested with each other?
Of course I didn't.
Okay. No.
Do you walk around with that hoping someone thinks you're a Teamster?
No, I put it on at 4:30 this morning, hoping it'll keep me warm on the way to work.
Oh, that's nonsense. You've had that for years. That means it's in a position in your closet.
Yeah, I've got like a half a dozen hoodies, and this is today's.
You're wearing the hoodie because you like the hoodie. Let's be honest.
Sure.
It's not just something you picked up off the floor, in someone else's room. When we were part of the union at WBCM, which thank God we were for me, that did me a lot of good. Thank God, and they were so interested in us.
Oh yeah, and they didn't get one guy in particular didn't want to kill me at one of those meetings.
I've heard that story. But I felt for Mingles. Mingles was so pro-union. I was willing to sacrifice my contract.
He was holding meetings with one other person. By the time I got there,
he was the shop steward.
I know, but it was just Mingles and one guy would meet together in the room.
Mingles was so into it. I was just like, all right, here's my money. All right, so
here's your money. They took it. You didn't even you didn't hand them any money. They took it out of your check.
I could have, with my contract.
Yes,
I could have not had to pay the union. But when I first got to Boston, I'm like, you don't know how. So when we were at WBCN, there was a union because WBCN had a strike
back in the 70s.
Back in this, I think it might even been the 60s, but whatever, 60s, 70s, where they teamed with a union and they went on strike and they ended up winning. So they stuck with this union, and for a long time that was great. And if you were a part-timer at BCN, you got paid a living wage.
Yeah.
For instance, if you had 3 shifts a week, you made enough to live.
Oh, ask Bradley J.
Yep. Yeah, Bradley J.
Or Mark Hamilton.
Would Bradley J. would travel the world and he would work 3 days a week.
Yeah,
it was a little ridiculous. But but this isn't anywhere else. Nowhere else has a union. No other radio places have a union. And when I first got to Boston, when they were doing our contract, they were like, "There's a union." They told my agent, they were like, "There's a union, and you want him to join, or else it will be problems." So I went, "Oh wow, okay, I'll join." And then I realized that there was no point of it. And then as I kept doing contracts, the only reason that I really stuck around was Mingles, because Mingles was so into it that I just was like, I couldn't, and Mingles would know if I didn't buy in, if I wasn't part of the union, and then I would feel like a scab.
Yeah,
because and I didn't want to have that.
No, it was really good for again the part-timers and van drivers, which was a big part of the BCN union. The people who actually drove the vans to remotes when we actually, used to do like big setup remotes, and a lot of those people held jobs like that for a long time. I was all in for that. And some other radio stations did have unions. Like, I don't know if Mix is still a SAG-AFTRA.
When I worked at Mix, they were SAG-AFTRA, and I got a really good rate.
Yeah.
But SAG-AFTRA is different.
Sure.
It's not an electrical union.
No, it's not electrical union, yeah,
no.
obviously.
But for our purposes, and at one of those meetings, I asked, what is it, because all the people in the meeting, save for like one of the promotions people, and at the time, I don't even know if there was any part-timers in there. I said, what is it that you do for us? Why do I give you money every month? Because we all had separate contracts apart from the union contract that superseded the union stuff. And that they just took money from us. If you ever tried to call them, the phone just rang off the hook, probably at some closet in Southie. It was just a phone plugged into the wall. And the guy, just said, solidarity. I'm like, with who? We've never been called upon to support anyone else. People are getting fired here left and right. And this was after BCN got blown up and the Sports Hub came to be. Fred, you were able to just transition from one morning show to the next. But I went from a full-time job to you have a shift for 4 hours on Saturday. That's all you're getting. 12 got shown the door altogether.
Yep.
What do they do for us? You ever get a phone call?
Nope.
Anybody ever talk to you about any of this stuff? Because for me, too, 12, I mean, growing up in Detroit, especially with, like my family, my dad's side of the family specifically, all union people. Gene Poole, I've talked about him before. That's his real name, Gene Poole. Huge UAW guy, right? When I lived in Vegas, he would come out there for like big conventions and stuff. It was like important to the family, and it's important for a lot of stuff. But for us specifically, I'm like, here, just in the microcosm here, can you tell me my name? I've been giving you money here for years and years and years. Do you know what we do here, and can you tell me why we pay you? Oh, did that guy not like that?
Well, yeah, because he didn't have an answer. But but here's the reason I bring it up, is because we were part of a union at WBCN, and it was an electrical union somewhere else, if not around us. But there was a union house, and you went there, didn't you, Adam?
No, I never got to go. I never got to go.
Who went there? Someone used to go there.
But yeah, because you could go and they had a bar there and you could go and sit and drink. It was almost like going to a VFW hall or something.
Apparently, they had like a vending machine with beer in it.
Yeah,
maybe it was Hamilton that used to go.
It must have been Hamilton.
Because
of all of us, it would have made the most.
Andy Hicks.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, Andy Hicks looks like real blue-collar guy.
I don't think Juanita was hanging out at the union
we talked
machine
about,
bar.
I remember, Fred, we talked about taking a field trip there, but then we never got around to it.
Yeah. Because I was very interested in how they would react to us when we were like, hey, we're part of the union.
Right.
Dan, go ahead.
Typical for Adam. He probably recycles paper and then fires up the chainsaw to cut down trees, and then he's burning wood, contributing to the carbon footprint. I don't want to hear it, Adam. Union sweatshirt. The idea of unions is good, but sometimes they get a little corrupt, so be careful, brother. I love you.
He's just cosplaying. He's cosplaying as a union member now.
Corrupt. What, like Jimmy Hoff, I suppose any of that was corrupt. Yeah. Stop it.
Jimmy Hoffa's grandkid went to my high school.
Oh.
Not North Farmington Country Day.
My dad was a bartender at the restaurant he disappeared from before, and he had quit before he got there, but he was at that restaurant.
I know where that restaurant was still around when I lived there, when I moved.
Was it the Macus Red Fox?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was still around. Yeah, and it's funny because everyone was making a big deal about this Hoffa kid, and I had no idea who Jimmy Hoffa was. And but that wasn't the. But when I was, this is a 30-second story. When I was in middle school, we had a drug dealer's sister, a big drug dealer's sister, like a big drug dealer's sister at our school, and that was a bit of a situation. You like bomb threats? We had bomb threats all the time. Bomb threats, threats of killing someone, threats of all this.
See, now that's why drug dealers need to unionize. Because if you could negotiate and you could sit down at a table, you could prevent a lot of that stuff.
So this guy was obviously infamous. He lived in my subdivision. Like, he lived in my subdivision. This guy was, like, infamous. And I delivered the Farmington Observer. I was a paper boy. And, it was like $2, like the thing. And I was saved $5. And I went up and I had to collect the money. And this guy answers the door. I still am afraid to say his name. This guy came up and answered the door. The Chaldean guy. He no shirt, pants, gun tucked into the waist of his pants. And he's like, ugh. And I'm like, oh God, oh God, oh God. And I'm like, it's $5. He's like, woo. And he gave me a $100 bill and just told me to leave.
Nice.
And that's why people love drug dealers.
Well, that's what Rush wrote the song Subdivisions about. Rush has a song called Subdivisions.
All right,
and
Dad,
Rush had an album title called Grace Under Pressure.
You just wanted to play that.
Yeah,
All right,
right.
that was completely out of the blue. All right, very good. We'll be right back. Talk about the Patriots who played yesterday, and everything strangely went exactly how I predicted.
But you couldn't have been more wrong about this game.
I was absolutely right. Even in the post-game conference, the Patriot players were saying it as such.
Fred Toucher was right. We had no chance.
No,
of
they were
this
saying
game.
that this is a team that's coached by a guy that we didn't have a chance. They weren't going to win a close game against these guys. They just weren't. McVay's too good a coach. He's too veteran a quarterback. All right, we'll be right back. Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. Hardy, what happened yesterday? It's a mystery to me.
Okay, so a lot of teams in the NFL played yesterday. Now, a couple of teams played on Thursday night. A couple more teams have played tonight. But I would say the majority of the teams played yesterday, Fred. And two of those teams in the National Football League are the New England Patriots, who are home. They play at Gillette Stadium, Foxborough, Massachusetts, very close by. They were playing host to a team. Now, I'm going to say the Rams. Where do you think they're from?
St. Louis.
No. This is the funny part. They're actually from
Vince Ferragamo.
Yeah.
I understand.
Los Angeles, as it turns out.
It's a good pull.
Yeah. The
Ferragamo.
1980 Super Bowl.
All right, Rams.
The guy played with a broken leg.
That wasn't Ferragamo.
No, it wasn't the quarterback. It was the defensive end. Youngblood. Played with a broken leg. Did you know that, Hardy?
Nice shoes.
In the 1979 season, the 1980 Super Bowl, the last of the Steelers' dynasty Super Bowls, Jack Youngblood played with a broken leg in that Super Bowl. He didn't break it during the game. He broke it before, in a game before.
Somewhat. Patrice Bergeron played with a broken leg.
Waited all week and then played on it in the Super Bowl.
Mm.
Who was the fourth liner that broke his leg and played on?
Campbell.
Oh, Campbell.
Campbell.
Yeah.
Stayed out there during the PK.
Hell yeah, he did.
Campbell.
All right. Patriots doing something which, was like way out of left field a month or so ago when they actually scored first. They've done it since then. They did it again yesterday.
Mayo takes the snap, looks, fires middle of the end zone, caught. Kendrick Bourne, touchdown, Patriots!
Look who's back, baby. KB on the little dig to the right side. And man, is he energized. He had to sit last week, active this week. And it is a back foot plant freaking dart that Drake May sticks right in between the numbers.
Great to see Kendrick Bourne out there catching that first touchdown pass of the game. After the game, he spoke about it.
Appreciate the coaches, keep believing in me. It was a tough situation, but that just says a lot, about how they're approaching it. They're doing their job. So shout out to the coaches. That's what they got to do. They got to make tough decisions. It's not easy running a team. So, I'm just a player on a team. So I couldn't imagine what they talk about, what they go through up there. And so I'm just thankful that they, still believe in me.
He's going to be here a while. He's not going anywhere. With an attitude like that, how many guys get benched for a week, come back, catch a touchdown pass, give all the credit to the coaches? They got a real tough job. There aren't many players that do that.
You know what?
They got to love him for this.
Or you could not be benched. That's an odd take by you.
No.
I would assume. What about all the players that didn't get benched? Everyone else on the team.
Well, I would think if you've got a bunch of he might be a decent 2 or 3 someday. We'll keep him around. Which guy are you going to keep around? The guy with that attitude or any of the other multitude of players that you have that are on the bubble? It's like
you realize that he's responding to being benched for his attitude.
Yeah, but not every player would respond that way. Other guys, we've seen it.
Other players
every week. We see it every week. Guys who double down on their misery.
I've always shown what I can do. I'm glad, that kind of stuff.
I appreciate the way he took it, but I don't think it's this great character. Like he's going to be around for a while. Well, no, they benched him for his attitude last week.
No,
they had just got done benching him.
Not for his attitude.
Yes,
for his poor play.
And his he wasn't. KJ Osborne wasn't playing better than Bourne. Bourne was benched for his attitude. Absolutely, he was. Absolutely.
We'll ask Reiss about that later. See if he has anything on it. Because I didn't.
If we ever get past his Bret Michaels concert experience.
Oh. Anyway,
I was telling you, it had to have been his attitude.
I don't remember it being. I'm with Hardy. So. I don't remember it being his attitude.
I think it was. I absolutely do. Allow me to investigate the computer.
Go right ahead.
All right.
Prove both of us wrong.
You look into that.
And then dance on our graves when you're right.
While we listen to Matthew Stafford hooking up with Cooper Kupp for the first of what seemed like about 1 billion times between him and Puka Nacua.
Design roll to the right. Flips into the end zone. Caught at the goal line. And Kupp is in for a touchdown L.A.
You got talkie on it. That's shooting fish in a barrel. That's what my old college coach used to say. Easy pickings here. Cooper Kupp on the inside slot, covered by Tavai. No chance.
No.
Okay.
That's not
Very
interesting
odd.
coverage choices.
DeMarcus
yesterday.
Covington, fresh off a 9-sack effort by his defense in Chicago, chose to put Christian Gonzalez on the number 3 wide receiver for most of the day.
That's fairly common in the NFL. It's funny, like I don't know why they do that. They don't move them on one receiver. They just keep them on the side of the field.
And seeing that, Sean McVay being the good head coach that he is, you know what? Let's line up our 2 guys on the opposite side of the field.
Yeah, let's just see where
make sure that Christian Gonzalez doesn't cover either of them.
Yeah, let's just see where Gonzalez is and then line up our 2 best receivers on
Are
the
they
other
allowed
side.
to move? Are they allowed to move in the middle of the game? Are they allowed to switch sides?
Apparently not.
Okay.
Not until the last. Gonzalez finally was covering one of those 2 guys the last half of the last quarter, but before that, he didn't touch Nakua, he didn't touch Cooper Kupp, and you have what you have.
Who'd you mention, Nakua?
Stafford under center, play fake, hops in the pocket, throws it right, Nakua's open, dives, makes the catch along the sideline, touchdown LA.
It's such a phenomenal route by him. He's hurt. Nakua's hurt. He comes back inside and reroutes Jonathan Jones. He cuts inside, gets him deep into the middle of the end zone, then breaks it out to give Stafford the room to throw it. Great throw, even a better catch.
I mean,
Jonathan Jones got picked on a lot.
You think you might be close, right? You get a win over a bad Bears team, but you see flashes of stuff, and we saw flashes from Drake May yesterday, and then you watch what real receivers can do. Mm-hmm. Hooking up with their quarterbacks who they have chemistry with, and you're like, oh, well, not there yet. Quite a ways off still.
Better though. I mean, look, Drake May was not running away from pressure yesterday. He stood in the pocket and delivered a lot.
Oh yeah,
yesterday.
Yeah. He took punishment. Yeah.
But every single week you see something different from him. I mean, he ran for almost 100 yards one week. He's constantly running away from pressure. Yesterday was different. Yesterday, the Rams blitzed him, and instead of running away from it, he stood in there, took the hit, and delivered balls that receivers were there for.
Okay.
I thought he was great.
By the way, don't wish away being able to run. Don't wish away being able to run. If you don't think that matters, watch the end of the Seahawks game and the end of the Bills game. If you don't think having a quarterback that can move. And then do yourself a favor and watch the Jets.
Yes. No, I get that. But I'm saying it's another dimension that he has.
No. That was a a half sequitur I was doing.
Okay,
is that no? It's good. You want to you don't want to get too happy feet.
But the thing is, you see this kid. He's multidimensional. He's not one or another.
Well, McVay said after the game he's a stud. I mean, this is the best case scenario for Patriots fans. I don't understand. I don't know if you understand how fortunate you are. This is everything that you wanted to happen. The hard work's over. You've gotten your quarterback. Everything else is a cakewalk. I don't care if no other pick hits. I don't care if the rest of that draft sucked. Because I got news for you. If you missed on the quarterback and hit every other pick in that draft, your team's going to blow.
Right. You say, I don't care if every other pick in that draft sucked, and my mind immediately flashed to Jalen Polk, who I don't think was targeted yesterday and had a key false start penalty on 4th and short.
Taking forever. Clock running. Go.
The Patriots with the play clock now at 8 and 7 and 6.
3 minutes.
Baker has to hurry to the right to get lined up. Booty left. May with 2 seconds and 1, and the Patriots with early movement left. The last minute, just a terrible sequence offensively.
Offense number 1, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Number 1's got to get his head in the game.
Yeah. They didn't throw to him. You can understand the mind wandering off a little bit.
Yeah.
It wasn't really involved yesterday.
No, and he's got to top it all off. It's good that he has that attitude problem. But the thing is, who would have known the second receiver at Washington?
Oh, my God.
Would have not been the world's greatest pro.
Yeah, were you confusing Polk with Bourne? Because Polk.
No. Van Pelt was they said performance related, but it was unclear. And then Van Pelt was on the Bourne thing, was insinuating that he might not play again this season. If you recall, he said when they announced his benching, they said, we think we have our receiver room targeted and who we want. I just was looking at it.
Was that because they want to play the young guys, or is that specifically because they didn't like Bourne?
Why would you play KJ Osborne? So, you know what I'm saying? They played KJ Osborne above Bourne. They played veterans. We'll ask Reiss, but I don't know what he's going to say. I got to imagine that something happened other than just performance, because Bourne is far and away a better receiver than KJ Osborne, and KJ Osborne has done nothing this year. So I have to imagine something was going on. That's all.
All right. Well,
It's my 2 cents.
You want to have some fun?
No.
Eligible? No, you don't.
This is game day Monday.
A little eligible receiver action.
Made play fake, drops in the pocket, pressure, lobs it wide open, touchdown, Patriots Low.
What a call!
The big man with a score for New England.
There's nothing prettier than a fat guy touchdown. Dell, the problem is you're so open. Oh my God, is it going to just hit the palms and fall down? You're not used to catching the ball.
No, but
Wow.
he did, and he cradled that thing like he was in an egg toss. It was beautiful.
I hope he doesn't get canceled for that statement, Scott.
Oh, nothing prettier than a fat guy touchdown?
The F word.
No. Well,
Got to be careful.
a
A lot of groups out there that are listening.
Oh my God! Hope he doesn't go to Disney. Or there are going to be a lot of meetings that suddenly stop.
That's the last thing our boss needs is more phone calls.
Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh boy!
I told you.
These chairs. What you don't know is the chairs are too small. It's a big chair. It's not these ladies' fault. It's the chairs. I knew right away. My uncle works for Lazy Boy.
He was over at Jordan Marsh for a while.
No one knows what we're talking about.
You're welcome.
Vidarian Low after the game.
I knew what you were doing.
Having a lot of fun talking about
It's
that.
Baba Booey, I know.
That's fine. That's fine. We all enjoy it.
No,
First of all, I've never caught a touchdown ever in any level of football that I've ever played at. But it's always been a dream of mine. Since I was a little kid, I always thought, I could play tight end, growing up. And I always thought I had, fairly great hands. But no, I've been waiting for, a moment like this. I'm just glad, when the play got called, everybody executed and we were scored a touchdown.
There you go.
I was fortunate enough to hit one home run in high school and score one touchdown in high school. The touchdown I scored, the guy fell down that was covering me. And I caught the ball and I looked around and I ran. It's on tape. It's on Betamax tape.
Really? Bird has his touchdown in Everett, and you have that on tape. You have not something you can watch because it's on.
No, it's been moved to DVD. But
okay.
I tell you, I've been here since 2006. I don't know why I haven't brought it in like Bird did his second day here. But I'll tell you this: there is no feeling like the touchdown. That is the best feeling that I have felt in sports. The home run was kind of just a ball that took off in the wind, and I was like, oh, and I couldn't believe it still went.
It's almost like a golf shot that goes a lot better than you're expecting. It's
that's
kind of
exactly what happened.
But Fred, I had a similar experience. Auburn Hills Boys and Girls Club, 7th grade flag football. Picked off a pitchback. I was an edge rusher. I was a defensive specialist.
Yeah, where they put the best players. Yes,
exactly. And picked that thing off and ran it back. And to this day, I can still remember with the fall sun behind me, and I could see my shadow. And I was watching my shadow to see if any of the previously on offensive players were coming close to me as I ran that thing back for a touchdown. You know what, Wallach? Nobody was close to me. I outran them all.
I'm surprised you didn't look at the big screen when you were running. That you didn't just look up.
They didn't have that yet. As a matter of fact, at the time, it was the Auburn Heights Boys and Girls Club. They had not yet transitioned to Auburn Hills because they weren't trying to build the palace yet.
Yeah, that's right. They weren't getting that tax money from the palace just yet.
Right.
All right. We'll be back in just a moment as your New England Patriots fall 28-22. In the game where your buddy here put his money where his mouth was, yesterday. This was a lucrative day for your boy.
Yeah, but I didn't talk to you yesterday. So how do I know that you actually did it?
I got receipts.
Oh, okay. Receipt keeper.
Right. Well, I mean, I did it legally.
Okay.
It's all kept track of. I made enough to retire. Let's put it that way.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So you're just doing this for the love of the radio now.
You know what I did yesterday? I let it ride. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
Patriots are now 3-8. They lost to the LA Rams yesterday, 28-22 in Foxborough. Matthew Stafford, 4 touchdown passes for the winners. Drake May, a pair of touchdown passes for the Patriots. Their next game is this Sunday in South Florida against Miami. The Dolphins are 4-6. They beat the Las Vegas Raiders yesterday, 34-19. Bruins are home to play Columbus tonight. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers have the pregame at 6:30 and the face-off at 7. You're on 98.5 The Sports Hub. And the Celtics are off until tomorrow night when they got a pretty big game against Cleveland at TD Garden. Cavaliers are 15-0 after a home win over Charlotte last night. The Celtics will also visit with President Joe Biden on Thursday at the White House. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Dr. Matthew Lopresti and Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, the hair doctor of Hardy, Wes Welker, and Rob Ninkovich. Call 1-800-GET-HAIR for your free consultation. I'm John Wallach of Boston Tone for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7 o'clock.
may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app. The 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Hey, if your alarm clock sounds like this is the show for you. Toucher and Hardy, The Sports Hub.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame member. And if you listen to Eddie Trunk, a Tribe Called Quest or something like that, idiot. He said they went too long. I don't know how you couldn't know who A Tribe Called Quest is.
Was you being passive aggressive?
No. It was the producer kid I always feel bad for that's never in the same building as him. Like he always goes like, Jerry, like, you got anything to add? And then Jerry will go, nope, you got it. You got it all.
Scrambling, shaking the shit.
Yeah, there's no, that kid wasn't being cute, but Eddie didn't have time because he was doing the Hagar tour in Japan. So I just saw something, by the way, where Ricky Rackman was being interviewed, and he was talking about how he was jealous of Eddie Trunk getting all these gigs, and he wonders sometimes why he's not this is true, why he's not introducing Faster Pussycat.
Because they're literally the only two guys who have any interest in that. So I can
imagine
be upset.
If your career jealousy was, why does he get to introduce Faster Pussycat? I'm the one who's friends with Tammy Down, the singer of Faster Pussycat, who I had the Cat House with. All right, go ahead.
Let's hear from Drake May after his performance yesterday. 30 of 40, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. What did he throw for, Wallach? 282?
Yeah.
Handful yards.
Yeah.
282, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception.
So, again, offensively, got a few things going yesterday. They actually moved the ball. They scored some points.
More first downs, had the football for 37 minutes yesterday.
Yeah, obviously didn't score enough, but all right, they're scoring some points. They were moving the ball yesterday, which is something that you kind of look at from week to week, and it's, some plays here and there, but they're really moving the ball. Yeah, they were moving the ball yesterday. He says they didn't do enough on their end.
Yeah, just can't hurt our defense, on the fumble, third down, gotta get the ball out. Can't take a sack there. Same thing I talked about in the previous press conference, punt. The end of the drive of the kick, Coach Mayo preaches that, end every drive of the kick. And then, I thought we did some good things, but at the end of the day, it wasn't good enough.
I need a Red Bull after the game. Boy, he's a real motor mouth there. How about your guy, Kendrick Bourne, Fred, who you say has, would you say bad energy? Bad attitude. Is that what you were?
I can't imagine that they benched a veteran receiver based on performance.
I can't
when
imagine
he's the most talented receiver that they have.
I can't imagine either after hearing what Drake May had to say about him.
Yeah, I think his attitude's always the same. KB's got great energy, and that's the one thing about him. He's gonna come in day in, day out with a smile on his face, and I think just a testament to him for not getting probably what he wanted last week and coming out here and making some big plays for us.
Interesting.
Well, he uses the word attitude. Are you putting that in my column or out of my column?
I'm putting that out
Are
of
you
your
writing
column.
a column now?
No,
you should write a column for 98.5thesportshub.com.
Lovely idea.
No, thank you. That would just be placating the man. That he says he mentions his attitude.
Yeah, he says he always had a great attitude, and regardless.
Yeah, but you don't just. He didn't go. Hunter Henry has a great attitude.
He was probably asked directly about Kendrick Bourne.
His attitude. Okay, whatever. We're going. I thought that was interesting. You took it another way. Very good. I look at. What do I know? I'm not in there, nor do I care to be. So maybe you're correct. It seems like a very odd thing to do, to bench physically your best receiver, and play guys his age that are worse, just because he's not good enough. That doesn't make any sense, but
want to give
good.
Jalen Polk all the reps possible.
But you're not. But you played veteran receivers. It wasn't like you put out 3 rookies. By the way, they cut Tyquan Thornton this weekend.
That's right.
Who was taken above Pickens, the receiver in Pittsburgh. And Pickens, though, was a little under the radar, having played at Alabama,
Georgia.
Or Georgia, rather. Georgia, sorry.
Yeah, you don't get a chance to see those SEC guys as much, so you can't blame them.
Right. And it wasn't like right after they took Tyquan Thornton, there wasn't this huge run on receivers.
That's right. Tyquan Thornton was really fast.
Yeah, really
Boy,
fast.
was he fast.
And I like Tyquan Thornton.
Built like a pencil. But
His legs
very
were as
fast.
thin as mine. He's the only football player I've ever seen in my life with legs as thin as mine.
Thornton was the best. Thornton, if you remember, during camp said, you know what? This last offseason, I chose to work out. I chose to bulk up a little bit. Because, see, I've been thin my entire life, and for the first 2 or 3 years of my pro career. So after taking a lot of punishment and getting hurt a lot and generally not being very good, I've this year decided to work out a little bit more.
Yeah.
I just wonder how he got off the line in college. Like how things are that much different.
The teams they played weren't very good.
Well,
Guys
he's
that
at
were
Baylor.
covering him weren't very good.
There was a bit of a narrative out there after the game and during the game, too, based on some of the decisions that Gerard Mayo made that the team was not being coached to win. Ben Volen had a column about it. He brings up the point at midway through the third quarter. Rams got the Patriots in a 4th and 2 situation. Instead of going for it, they kicked the field goal to make it 21-13. Volen brings up some other points that I take issue with, but before that was even written, Gerard Mayo was asked if he was, in fact, coaching to win the game.
With the 4th and 2, which the fans clearly were not happy with, do you think you're coaching to win, or do you think you're coaching to win?
I'm always coaching to win. Look, every decision that I make won't always be the popular one, and that's part of this job.
They cut it to a 1-score game. I don't understand why you go for 4th and 2.
So it would have been 21-17 as opposed to 21-13. All right, still technically with a 2-point conversion, a 1-score game. I
didn't have any trouble with
I was
that.
okay with that. Here's another one.
How is that not coaching to win though? Like a 4th and 2, then why don't you go for it on why don't you go for 2 every touchdown from the 2-yard line? If it's so easy to pick up 2 yards in that end of the field, why don't you just go for 2 all the time? And by the way, teams are only hitting like something like high 38% of 2-point conversion.
I saw that number yesterday too.
Yeah,
38.
so like what? So that means so you're in the red zone. People hit 38% of second down of 2-point conversions. Let's give you a little bit more for the more room. You have a 40% chance of hitting that. If you don't hit it, you can't win the game. I read the Volen article too, and I thought it was really nitpicky. And in a lot of those decisions, I would have kicked a field goal there. I certainly would have. There's no guarantee against that defensive line. You can't run it. What are you going to run it up the middle for 2 yards?
Okay, so they had a chance to go up 10-0 too. It would have been a 55-yard field goal.
I would have done
in the second quarter. And he said Sly had missed a few kicks going that way in the stadium during warm-ups.
Yes.
Then cut him. If he can't make a 55-yard field goal, then cut him.
Yeah, Sly missed. I think he hit it off the upright from 48, according to the writers that were watching.
Then that's not good.
Yeah.
Then cut the kid. You got to be able to make a 55-yard field goal on a nice day.
It was a
I
little
got
windy.
news for you.
They had a little wind out there yesterday.
Yeah, it was real.
A little blustery.
A little blustery, a little gusty.
Yeah. Not quite sure.
Lions and if the Lions are in the NFC Championship game on the road for whatever reason, and jabroni hero kicker from the UFL,
Jake Bates,
misses a field goal on a 70-degree sunny day, and they go, "Oh, there was a slight gust of wind." You're not going to like that very much.
First of all, it was 60, and second of all, how funny is it that we're sitting here talking about? And I'm not disagreeing with you. I just think it's funny how things have changed in the NFL. If you can't make a 55-yarder, then get the hell out of here.
That's true.
20 years ago, 55 yards, we would have led with that.
Kid from the Jets, they made a mistake, and their kicker went to Kansas City last week.
Spencer Schrader kicked for Kansas City.
He went to Kansas City last week. He left the team. He left their practice squad to go to Kansas City, so they didn't have a kicker. So they had to put some kid kicker on the team, and he made a 58-yarder yesterday.
It's insanity.
You got to make a 55. You don't have to make it, right?
but
that has to be an option. Like you have to think I have a pretty good chance of making this 55-yarder, and you are correct. For almost my entire life, 62 was the record,
and what was
63
what was considered a long field goal? I would say anything over 40.
I'd say anything over 45, but whatever. It's like everything else, dude. It's like kids dunking. It's like everything else. It's how hard people throw. It's it's just things get crazy. But I mean, I'm serious. If your kicker's struggling that much in pregame to limit you to not try field goals on a nice day, I could understand if it was a storm. Then Sly shouldn't be your kicker. And I'm not. I am on the side of the Mayo made good decisions, so I'm not being negative against the Patriots. I'm just like, well, that shouldn't be your kicker.
Maybe it has something to do with the special teams. I mean, they did have an extra point blocked yesterday.
Yeah, well, that can be on the kicker too.
How many field goals did Jets kick yesterday?
The kid made the 58-yarder. I don't remember. Not enough. All right, he didn't miss anything. We'll be back in just a moment.
FM and HD Boston.
Patriots!
From the opening kickoff to the final play.
Touchdown!
Your home of the pass.
Yes.
98.5. The Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
Well, the Patriots had the ball with just under 2 minutes left in their own territory, down 6 yesterday. It was a chance to win back-to-back games for the first time this season for Drake May.
Drops back, fires down the middle, and it's intercepted. Douglas didn't look back for the ball, and the ball picked off in center field, and Kinchins lands on the turf after returning inside the 45-yard line.
He's 35 yards downfield. Just counted the yardage, and he never looked back for the ball.
That's Bob Socci and Scott Zolak here on 98.5 The Sports Hub, and May's interception finished off a 28-22 LA Rams win in Foxborough. May wound up 30 for 40 passing for 282 yards, 2 touchdowns, and that interception on the day. But his defense had a lot of trouble containing Matthew Stafford, who threw 4 TD passes for the winners. Patriots are 3-8. They visit 4-6 Miami on Sunday. The Dolphins beat the Las Vegas Raiders yesterday 34-19. Kansas City suffered their first loss of the season last night, 30-21 in Buffalo. As for the Bruins, they're 8-2 on the season. They're back home tonight to play Columbus. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers have the pregame at 6:30 and the face-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. The club sent Riley Tufte back to Providence yesterday. Tyler Johnson is also back with the team. Brad Marchand and Mark Kasterlik both sat out practice yesterday. And the Celtics are off until tomorrow night when they host Cleveland. The Cavaliers beat Charlotte last night 128-114. They will come to town undefeated at 15-0. Also, the Celtics will visit with President Joe Biden on Thursday at the White House before playing the Washington Wizards in D.C. on Friday night. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Benton University, where good business begins and leaders come to learn. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
Boston plays here.
Through the slot, close shot, save, rebound, score!
98.5 The Sports Hub.
It's called rising and grinding.
Start your
Got
day.
your finger on the pulse, Fred.
Begin your
Seldom
day
right and never wrong.
right here. Is that Dutcher or is that Hardy?
I know, looks like a poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
Hey. We are. Who's this?
Band called Title Fight.
Is this like that band Karate you like?
No, this is much different than that. But I do like karate. In fact, thanks for the reminder. I might have to work some karate into the mix here, you know? But yeah, Title Fight's more of like a, I don't know how to characterize them, post-punk. You would like them, actually, Fred. You would like this album. It's called Hyperview. Came out in 2015.
All right. Very good. Where are they from?
Oh, you got me stumped on that. I don't remember.
There's a little early Husker Du without the mold voice.
Yep.
All right. We are Toucher Husker Du. What did I say?
Husker.
Oh, my God. My
Like a
bad. Husker Du.
simp.
I know. That's not a simp. A simp is Belichick. We are Toucher and Hardy. We are on YouTube. You can watch us. Search 98.5 The Sports Hub. We're brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. And I don't know. I know we all did, and tens of millions of people did, watch the Jake Paul fight versus Mike Tyson. Now, my son was out with his friends watching the fight, and I had my daughter, and we watched. She wanted to watch the fight, so I said, let's watch the fight. And John's all head over heels for this lady fight that was in front of it. That was before it.
Mm-hmm.
John can't get enough. He's like, it's an all-time fight.
It was a great fight.
That's like saying, like, that was an all-time dove race. An all-time pigeon race.
It was very entertaining.
Was it on the billiards channel? Because it's essentially like watching billiards.
Yeah.
What's the opposite of a cockfight? Would that be a hen peck? Is that what was going on?
I don't know the answer to that.
All I know is that someone's going to be offended that I didn't care about that fight.
I guarantee it now.
That was look, the only way I was staying up for that fight was to take a nap, which I didn't get earlier in the day, so I slept through every preliminary bout. I took like a 2-hour couch nap, but I woke up for the last, I don't know, 2-3 rounds of that fighting. That was a fight.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, but it was two women fighting.
That was good. I don't care. It was great. They were landing
Very
punches.
entertaining. They were standing right in front of each other. It was really good. There's blood everywhere, man.
The headbutting, though.
I don't know. Taylor headbutted him right over the eye. It was bad.
I think I just respect women too much. I don't want them hurting each other.
Well, maybe I don't choose to white knight for every woman I come across in my life like you, Fred.
Guilty as charged. All right, so John's head over heels for this women's fight, so he's all on the edge of his seat. But John, also being the resident sports expert, bet on Tyson.
So did I. On the money line.
I bet on Tyson to win by knockout.
To me, the
you
action.
realize these are fake fights.
Listen
correct?
to me.
I did.
Do you realize that the action is the juice? All I want is action.
I know. You bet with the heart. I hit the BetMGM app. There it was.
I get if you're like, well, first of all,
I only bet 500, so it wasn't fiscally irresponsible.
No,
I
much
have
more of a loser than I am.
I have a lot of thoughts on this. First of all, isn't it interesting? Again, I have a bunch of thoughts on this, so if you'll indulge me, but I want your opinion because I haven't talked about this with anyone else because I don't have friends. So, isn't it interesting that Jake Paul? Everyone was rooting for Tyson. Tyson's the villain. Tyson's a convicted rapist. You tell me what Jake Paul has done.
Nothing.
No. But like,
I can't. I don't know why.
Exactly right. So all Jake Paul is a hustler like every other kid on YouTube. He's 27. He's not even really a kid. He looks like every other person on YouTube, and he basically hit the lottery. If you went on YouTube now and just randomly clicked on stuff, Jake Paul videos until you got to the end of the internet, you will find. I watched a video. My daughter watched a video yesterday of these guys that look like Jake Paul in Mexico that are getting killed by the cartels because they're saying the wrong thing in the videos. Like this is you could go to Finland and there's 100,000 Jake Pauls in Finland. I'm not even sure why we're supposed to hate him. Tyson is, again, a convicted rapist. But Jake Paul is the enemy. So anyway, and I wanted Tyson to win too. I liked how we bit his gloves. Second of all, Netflix is like, so the thing kept buffering.
Yes.
And Netflix came out with a statement saying something like, we were protecting it for the most amount of people. Some of you might have said it was buffering. Oh, yeah. Just us in Boston were getting the buffering. Right. Like, we're idiots. I mean, they're literally like, hey, morons, we got you to watch this stupid thing.
I know.
We got you to watch this dumb thing. Why don't you, you were the only ones who got it. Everyone else got to watch it. I mean, these guys are really something. But I also was interested in the complaint was the buffering, because what did you miss? Now, here's my main point. All right.
Okay, hold on. Well, let me address that first. You pump this thing up. Yeah, everybody watch on Netflix. Everyone watch. Okay, we will all be sheep and we will all watch. We're all going to tune in and watch. You couldn't watch it. You're going to ask us to do something, and then you don't deliver the most basic thing, which is the ability to watch it, even if it were nothing, even if they were standing around, even if there were a delay because there was a pipeline burst in the arena. You still have to be able to watch it. You couldn't watch it. So that is why people were so pissed off. You beg me to watch. I buy in for your marketing. I do all this stuff. Yeah. I go out of my way to stay up until frickin' midnight on a Friday night, which, by the way, we only said Saturday 15 times on Friday. I got one email correcting us. I finally found that this morning.
That's not good.
On Friday.
That's not good.
I don't think we said it that many times. But the fact is, you get people to watch, and then you can't technically watch it. That's what pissed me off. And I ended up watching it the way a lot of people ended up watching it, courtesy of another sociopath, Antonio Brown, who was live streaming it on his phone. He was at the event holding his phone up, taking a live stream video of the huge video board there in Dallas.
I didn't even know about that.
There were over 6.
That's how you watched it?
That's how I watched it.
I did not watch
because
it
my TV wouldn't catch up to the point, and like you, Fred, you and I have talked about this, and probably 90% of everyone listening right now can't stay off my phone, so I'm constantly refreshing Twitter while I'm watching a game or something like that, and I know what's happening before it happened. That drove me nuts. That's when I saw the thing pop up. The only way to watch the game right now is on CTESPN, which I guess is
that's his
Antonio
hashtag.
Brown's hashtag.
That's his
and
hashtag.
sure enough, 6 million plus people were watching his live stream of the event.
But now my question is this: so Netflix, congratulations, you did what you had to do. You better fix this all before the NFL. They got 2 Christmas Day games, and that's where you can't afford.
You'll have more viewers.
Well,
more viewers.
I don't know if you'll have more viewers, but you better. But there will be people will be real upset if that. This was just like a clown show. Like, how upset is anyone really going to be? You start screwing around with the NFL, people are going to be legit mad, like leaving your service mad. More harm than good. Bad. There is a point, as much as these companies like to take advantage of us, like streaming's no guarantee. I'll point you to Paramount Plus. They're losing hundreds of millions of dollars a quarter. And there's not that many of them, all told. Like, this isn't, just because you have a streaming service does not guarantee you money. They're not printing money. And they need live events, just like radio. Like advertisers want live content. Like these streaming services know they need to go to live content. It's the only way to really capture an audience at the same time. It's preferable to everyone. Everyone needs live content. That's why they're all doing it. It makes total sense. They need live events. That's why sports go for so much money, because they're guaranteed eyes all at the same time, experiencing something at the same time. But my thing is this, is that we all don't care about Jake Paul. Like, none of us know really anything about Jake Paul. He's just like a douchey 27-year-old. He grew up with the internet. He hit the lottery. I understand people are putting out videos of him doing like dumb dance routines when he was a teenager online. Yes, I get it. He's just a dumb kid. But how many people are going to turn around and watch another thing like this? Like, you watched it. It was terrible. There's obviously hang on. Jake Paul said after the fight he didn't want to hurt Tyson. There's obviously an agreement that they're not going to hurt each other, and they get. Why would you watch it again?
The only way I would watch something like this again is if I were convinced that the guys were actually going to fight. And I don't know how you can convince yourself.
But why
of
Jake
that.
Paul? Why is Jake Paul more compelling than an actual fight then? Because think about it now. Like, if Tyson, like, say he fights, I don't even know what effing boxer he'd fight next, but say he fights a better younger boxer.
No.
Some guy.
No.
So, but say the guy knocks Jake Paul out. Like, do you think that would be like super satisfying for you? Like, it doesn't. More than anything else, to me, if Jake Paul, like, I've seen it. I know who Mike Tyson is. I grew up, he was the biggest thing in sports for a year or two when I was growing up. Like, and it happened. He was biting his gloves, and the whole thing was weird, and they weren't hitting each other.
No.
So,
Which, by the way, to your analysis, because I think they were both thinking the same thing. Like, Tyson obviously didn't want to get knocked out and get embarrassed, and I think Jake Paul probably thought, as old and as a mismatch as this is physically, if Tyson catches me once, he could knock me out. So both guys just got in there and quote unquote fought. They didn't really fight.
There was
in a way that would stop that would prevent
Jake
being
Paul,
embarrassed.
Jake Paul said it. I mean, he fought like he was supposed to fight. He kept them away from him, and they didn't fight. But we're analyzing something that doesn't need to be analyzed. Like, how they fought, it doesn't matter. They fought not to hurt each other, and so fine, great. Mike Tyson made a lot of money, and people are like, "This hurts his legacy." He's a convicted rapist. And the end of his career was horrible. Like, his legacy has long been destroyed.
Well, his legacy is now something else. It's that of being like, Mike Tyson, the brand.
Yeah,
it's moved on from boxing.
Right. But, I mean, it's not like his career as a boxer ended with a huge flourish.
No.
I mean, he faded out horribly.
Yeah.
Like, he took and lost to a bunch of tomato cans, and he stunk at the end. And this is 20 years later.
Now, here's something worthy of analysis. Was that the most disappointing television event you've ever witnessed?
It was so boring that I'll tell you what my experience was. I never cared.
Because
I never cared during it. I realized how much I didn't care as soon as it started. I was like, I don't care who wins. I don't care about Mike Tyson. And I really realized I don't care at all about Jake Paul. And if you have teenage kids, I don't even know how you can think Jake Paul's that much of a dick because they all have the same haircut.
Well, they all have the same haircut, but I didn't hate him until he rode in the lowrider with his doofus brother, and they kept talking about
the flames on the side
the
of the car
$1 million
going 2
he
miles
spent.
an hour.
The most expensive boxing trunks ever. It's like, oh, I do hate this guy.
Yeah,
I don't even know why.
I'm with you.
I
Did you hate Ravishing Rick Rude in The $1 Million Man? This kid's a wrestler.
I know.
Do you hate? Boy, you guys were
Looking
rubes.
back on it, that's what pisses me off because I should have known better and didn't.
Like, you understand the whole thing is a show.
Yeah.
That he knew what he was doing with the expensive trunks.
You know what? You were saying the two fighters were fighting not to hurt each other. I think it's worse than that. I think Jake Paul certainly took that attitude. But I remember Tyson in the first couple of rounds actually landed what he thought was a good shot. He punched him in the throat. If you take a look on replay, you see it was an actual shot. And Paul looked at him and went, "That's it. That's what you have for me tonight."
John,
and that was the end.
I think you're trying to get in Tyson's head.
No. I think Tyson for the first 2 rounds actually tried and then realized he had nothing.
Well, he had
at
no
58.
lungs and no legs.
This guy's.
That's what I think.
This guy's got a really good point. Andrew, go ahead.
Hey, if you guys are going to talk about the worst televised event, do you guys remember when the man was supposed to be eaten by that anaconda?
Yes, and did you listen to the show back then? This show?
I did.
Yes, and you recall my abject just fury at that whole event. This guy said he was going to get eaten by an anaconda. Do you remember this?
I do.
And he had the suit that was.
And he had a suit that you can't penetrate.
Yes.
And he tapped out anyway.
And he went feet first, which is, oh my God, Andrew.
I think we were on the air together at that time.
Oh, no, we were.
I think it was this show, yes.
So this guy goes, I'm going to get eaten by an anaconda. And it's this whole thing. And he's going to get eaten by an anaconda. And he's doing press. And there's this whole lead up that he's going to get eaten by an anaconda. And then they show him, and he's got an anti-eaten by an anaconda suit on.
Yes.
And then he let the thing eat his feet. Big deal. I would have done it. I would do that. If you put a bunch of crap on me that was impenetrable and then let an anaconda, play around with my feet, I'd absolutely do that.
I
had 7,000 guys standing around to chop it into pieces the minute it got out of hand.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous.
There have been a lot of events. Like remember during Shark Week where Michael Phelps was going to swim with the sharks.
Oh,
so man
didn't even swim at
beast?
the same time.
No, I know. They're completely different areas. There was no shark anywhere near.
Well, let's explore that very quickly. So if you don't know what John's talking about, is Michael Phelps was going to race a shark. Interesting, right? So you figured there'd be a shark on one side.
Yes.
Even in a glass. They would glass in a lane of the pool.
Yeah.
And they would have the shark, and they would open up a fence, like a starter's gate, and the shark would swim out, and Phelps would start. They had a shark in another part of the world.
Yes.
And then Phelps swim, and it was just who was faster.
But it wasn't even that. Phelps had this modification fin on the back of his feet.
But who cares who's faster than a shark or Michael Phelps? Unless they're swimming next to each other.
There was no danger at all.
No, and it doesn't even make sense.
So, how about this? 8:40, because I asked this question over the weekend on Twitter for other purposes, so I'd have something to talk about there
on the
satellite thing.
Yeah.
Some really good answers came in, and some of them are going to infuriate you when you are reminded.
You better
of them.
give me an hour then. But anyway, so
how about this? So you want to do more at 8:40?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea because I know we have to break because we have Mike Reiss. But we can talk about this again tomorrow because I'm just interested why you would watch it again, and it's not one of those things I'm better than this because I watched it. And it's not like I felt like I wasted time or anything like that. It was on a Friday night when I was with my daughter, and we would have been watching something anyway. It's just that when it started, I realized I don't care. I just don't care, and I'm certainly not going to care. There's no one else he could fight that I would care. Like now he's fought Tyson.
Yeah.
I don't care about anyone in the MMA. I don't care about any fake wrestlers. I don't care about any other boxers.
If he's
I don't
dumb
care.
enough to fight like a ranked heavyweight.
But I don't care about him getting beat up. Like, it doesn't matter to me. I'd rather see, quite frankly, if you put me in front of a TV, I'd rather see two heavyweights that can fight.
Yeah.
I don't care if Jake Paul gets hurt. It doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't. I don't hate him. Like, I don't, and I hate everybody. I don't hate Jake Paul. There's nothing about him that bothers me. He's rich. He's done it. I don't care. If every douchebag that was rich, there's far worse douchebags than him on the internet. They're all over the place. That's all my kids watch. People in a car talking. That's all they watch. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
You're listening to Touch.
Gotta go, we understand, but make sure you bring the Sports Hub app with you so you can hear more of
the beginning. I'll tell you a story about that at the end if you remind me. Mike Reiss, which you won't because you probably don't want to hear it. Mike Reiss is the ESPN NFL Nation reporter covering the Patriots. He's brought to you by DN Van Lines. Moving your home or business and need a recommendation for someone? How about a recommendation from almost the entire staff here at the Sports Hub and the Sports Hub itself? Yes, they moved the station to dnvanlines.com. Mike joins us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Mike, hello.
Good morning, Fred, Hardy, John. How are we doing this morning?
Oh, you know what? I haven't logged on to the YouTube chat yet, but I'm going to right now just so I can look at you, Mike. I just want to gaze my eyes.
Isn't that on a delay?
It is a delay, but I still get to get a look at him.
Mike, it's good to talk to you. Sorry we couldn't hang out on Friday.
Yeah, you invited John to the Brett Michaels show?
I did. And Fred, I realized I need your contact because I would have invited you. We would have had it was a magical night in Lynn.
You have my contact.
Hardy, I figured you were a no, but I probably shouldn't have.
And you thought Fred would be a yes.
That's my bad.
I'm
I
a
honestly
single
didn't
guy.
know. I didn't know about Fred. Fred, would you have seriously considered that?
I don't know. I liked Poison a lot when I was a kid. Does everyone want to hear my Poison story? Are you jumping at the Brett Michaels story? Are you chomping at the bit, Mike? You want to hear it or no?
I mean, I'm good for it now. I was good for it later. Let's go.
All right. So, guy I used to work with. He's like a 19, 20-year-old kid. He's in a suburb of Chicago. And he's out there. I can't remember the name of it, but like about 30 miles outside Chicago. Poison play. They open up for like a bigger band. So they're at this bowling alley. It's like the only place to go in town. They're at this bowling alley. My friend's there, Axel. He's there with a group of friends. The headlining act like takes all the girls and gets them on the bus and takes them away. And one of the girls' friend's car follows the bus home. My friend Axel's sitting at the bowling alley. He's alone. All his rides have left. Brett Michaels is walking out. He turns around and he goes, "Hey, what's going on?" And he goes, "All my friends left with the other band." He's like, "I got no way home." He goes, "Oh, get in the bus and we'll give you a ride home." Took my friend, put him on the tour bus, asked where he lived, gave him a ride home, dropped him off. And said, "Sorry about your girls. Like the other guys are dicks."
Nice.
And left.
That's nice.
You like that Brett Michaels story?
That was very good.
I'll always have respect for him. All right, there you go, Mike. Does that make you like him more?
It does. And I will tell you, we can all get together. 2026, he announced that he's getting Poison back together, and he's coming around in the outdoor stadium or theater. So let's go.
Oh no, they'll play in a package. But have you heard those guys talk about each other?
Not too much. I just read something.
Yeah, I just heard Ricky Rocket being interviewed by Eddie Trunk. Oh. They talk horribly about they truly hate each other.
How is that possible?
Because they make a lot of money and there's no way to, or you're playing Lynn.
And before we move on to the Pats here, let's just put this to bed once and for all. Fred.
Yeah.
Saturday night was the show, Mike?
Friday
night, you were going to go to Lynn to see Brett Michaels?
No, probably not.
Okay.
But I did go out on Saturday.
I would have gone if I could have.
Okay.
I would have gone with you, Mike. I'm sorry I was unable to.
Yeah. Would you have Brian game?
No, actually, my family, we had plans with another family.
Oh, you could have broken those plans. All right. Mike Reiss. All right. So let me ask you this. We were debating this. Was Kendrick Bourne benched last week entirely based on performance?
I think so, Fred.
Yeah.
I didn't sense that there was anything else there. If it was more than performance, I don't think he would have been active for that game.
Okay, so was he playing that poorly? And that's pretty rare. Wouldn't you say for a team to bench a veteran like with a good attitude? It's pretty publicly embarrassing. It seems like something teams would be reticent to do.
Very fair point, Fred. I think on that one, the factors in play were the performance against Tennessee. I think Kendrick even acknowledged he had, maybe not on the same page with Drake on a couple plays. So combine that with, at the time, the Patriots had 7 receivers on the roster, which is an NFL high. And I think they were throwing KJ Osborne a bone. Like as if to say, you've been a pro, you're working 12, 14-hour days. You're showing up at times in practice like, let's see what you look like in the game. And I think they gave whatever snaps Kendrick would have got to KJ, and KJ didn't earn those snaps this week, so they went back to Kendrick.
Okay, Tyquan Thornton was caught. There's if he clears waivers and everything, he could come back. Is his career with the Patriots done?
So, Fred, I would have thought he maybe would have come back, but then I heard Gerard Mayo on the pregame show with Zoe on this great station, and Gerard Mayo said he thinks Tyquan would benefit from a fresh start where the expectations of being a second-round pick sort of don't follow him. So he gets a reset. I don't know if that was the exact word Gerard Mayo used, but when I heard that, Fred, it made me think he wasn't coming back.
Okay, some people have been critical, and Mayo was asked about it after the game, that the Patriots weren't playing to win. An example was when they were down 2 scores on a 4th and 2, kicking a field goal. Yep. All of us agree that that doesn't seem like an outrageous move to kick a field goal there.
So Fred,
go ahead.
No. I'm sorry. I didn't mean.
No. You're right. Go ahead. You go. That's you interject whenever, baby. This is a conversation.
So I am. This game, I will tell you, for me was a hard one to get my hands around. Right after I've been going through it last night, this morning, and I thought there were 4 game management situations from Gerard Mayo that he had to make a decision. That was one of the big ones. And I think my view of it is you can justify either decision. I don't think it was like he's egregiously wrong or he's egregiously right. Or I don't know if that is even possible, or he's definitely right. What stood out to me is that each decision, it wasn't supported based on what happened after it, which comes back to the bigger picture to me is that the Patriots lost to a more talented team. The other team had more talented players, and a lack of attention to detail is what ultimately was the most disappointing to me from the Patriots' performance than any coaching decision.
So is that how you explain the defense yesterday? For some reason, Christian Gonzalez is not covering Puka Nacua or Cooper Kupp for long periods of time, and they couldn't seem to stop Matthew Stafford for long periods of time after a 9-sack performance the week before.
Yeah. So, John, that's the first thing I want to look at when I go through the game is defensively, would it have made a difference if they put Gonzalez on those 2 guys? My instinct, just based on watching the game live and sort of going back through a few select plays before coming on with you, that would not have made a difference. What would have made a difference, in my opinion, is don't call an all-out blitz at the start of the 3rd quarter where you have 7 players rushing and you're putting all your corners on an island and you give up a 69-yard touchdown. To me, if we want to talk about coaching decisions, that one is number 1 on my list as the one you can look at and say, that's a regrettable coaching decision in the game.
Yeah, because that one wasn't an issue of just them having much more talented receivers and a quarterback. It was not difficult for him to get behind the defense on that because everybody was up on that blitz, and ill-timed and ill-conceived as that was, it didn't take much for Stafford to find his man, and boom, you got cooked on that. I think conversely, Mike, there was some pretty positive reaction to the offensive play calling yesterday, and that seems to be, a check in the column for Alex Van Pelt. It wasn't perfect, but then again, they don't have the personnel to make it look perfect. I think offensively, the game was called in a pretty satisfactory manner for a lot of people.
So Hardy, my view is they're starting to look like a capable NFL offense. I think that's reflected in they had 382 yards, which is their highest total of the season. I will say, Hardy, like the disappointment is I thought the game turned in the 2nd quarter when they got penalized for an illegal formation. Left tackle Vidarian Lowe for not lining up on the line of scrimmage, which, in fairness to Vidarian Lowe, the left guard Michael Jordan was also set back pretty deep, and he's going to sort of align
right
in concert with him. To me, if that penalty, if they can just align correctly, this is what gets back to my whole attention to detail. We might be having a whole different conversation this morning. That game's 7-0. They're winning. They at least probably get a field goal there, 10-0. Who knows how it plays out? So I think, as promising as the offense is, and Drake May, like I'm with everything you guys have talked about, he gives them a chance to be very, very good going forward if they can support him and surround him with the right pieces. I think if they can tighten up the attention to detail, that's the part, and that's in the red zone too. That's a huge issue for them right now, the last 2 games.
And that's the thing, is that you're going against a Sean McVay coach team. With the rookie head coach, the rookie quarterback, I don't think you kept it close, which is more than I thought would happen. All right, Mike Reiss, what's the next show you're going to? There's obviously something happening.
I have a big gap right now on the schedule, Fred, so I need to fill that in. So if you guys have anything that you see coming, keep me posted. It's not till next year, which is not a good setup right now.
Really? And who is it next year?
We're deep into April, and Hart is coming to Agganis Arena, and that'll be good.
Are they refundable if someone dies?
Hey, don't joke about that. They're coming off. They had to cancel. They were supposed to be with Journey and Def Leppard, and I think Ann Wilson had a cancer scare, but she's back now. So.
Well, I didn't know that.
Well done, Fred.
Well,
nice job.
Thank you for bringing that up.
You really
Mike.
stepped in it.
Because I didn't know that was the case.
Fred, do you have anything coming up?
Shows?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I haven't been to. Tyler the Creator. I'm taking my daughter to Tyler the Creator.
I always feel so bad because I used to see Mike in person, like every week, and he would ask me, "It's like, Hardy, you have any shows coming up?" And my answer was always, "No." No. I don't have any concerts I plan on attending anytime soon.
Tyler the Creator, a mere $500 and change per ticket. So I'm sure that's what you paid for Bret Michaels as well. So there you go.
I think we need to huddle up and find a good show that fits for all of us. I think we could have a good fun time together.
Well, if you like parody songs, then John, you won't have no problem finding something to go to John with. He was a big Dr. Demento guy. All right, thank you, Mike Reiss.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a great rest of the show.
Thank you, appreciate it. Mike Florio is allowed network television time, and he's no different than you listening or I or anyone else. He just reads things and then connects dots and just throws it out there like any of us could do, like you could with your friends. Mike Florio is essentially like your friend who's too good into football. He's like too into it. He won't shut up about it. That's what Mike Florio is, and he's got a very, very valid take coming up.
Sports Hub headlines.
Patriots are now 3-8 on the season after losing at home to the LA Rams yesterday, 28-22. Matthew Stafford, 4 touchdown passes for the winners. Drake May, 2 touchdown passes for the Patriots, but got intercepted at midfield late. Patriots visit the Miami Dolphins on Sunday. The Bruins had yesterday off. They play Columbus at TD Garden tonight. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers have the pregame at 6:30 and the face-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. And the Celtics host Cleveland tomorrow night. Cavaliers won yesterday evening. They will come to town undefeated at 15-0. Celtics, by the way, will visit the White House and meet with Joe Biden on Thursday. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. Enjoy the game with the original triple distilled, triple blended, and triple cask matured Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. Please drink responsibly. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8 o'clock.
Come in. All right. Riz from the YouTube chat said people are making fun of my shirt, Hardy, and this is the one thing I wear that you like.
I really like it, yeah.
There's no way I'm doing anything remotely involving movement today because of my schedule, so I was able to commit to this jacket today. All right. Mike Florio has had an interesting career. He's a guy from the middle of nowhere that he found the internet before anyone else.
He started in his barn in West Virginia, and here we are.
He was the Danny Ash of football. He was the Danny Ash was the first.
Every time you bring her up, I always get a smile.
Because
That's
if you were
good.
a young man looking to masturbate to the internet when it was in its infancy, you were very familiar with Danny's world.
This is like 30 years ago, mid-90s. Yep, that's right. We
That's what
had
it
those
sounded
hookups
like.
when that was a thing.
And it just happened to be a big breast site because she was very busty, and then so a whole generation of guys were just inundated with big-breasted women.
Just pictures at that point.
Oh sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, video would have been very grainy and very short.
Yep.
But anyway, Mike Florio, is essentially the Danny Ash of football. He was the first guy in his base, literally his basement or barn, to start talking about football. And in my opinion, he just is like a friend of yours that's too into it, that just starts making assumptions, logical leaps of conclusions, or whatever the term is. But here he is talking about Belichick, who, by the way, we were sent a picture of wearing a Bridgewater State cheerleading shirt.
Yeah.
And doing some hand gesture.
No, he had his claw. His claw was up.
Yeah, and he was sitting there like he was a senile old man being led around by a dirty nurse.
Jordan, you can do better than this.
Yeah, Jordan, make him dress like the mascot, or put him in your cheerleading outfit.
It's the Bridgewater Bear.
He's like, I can do it too. Oh, his poor children. Oh, boy, what an embarrassment. This guy's not going to, believe me, this guy's not getting a job. There's no way.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know, Fred. I think Mike Florio has something different
to
talk
talk about. All right, here we
about.
go. Thank you. Here we go. Here's Mike Florio.
Before the season started, team owner Shad Khan.
Shut up. Before the season started.
I'm a second and a half into it.
Before the season started.
Okay.
Fred, you're an a-hole. Why?
Before the season started, team owner Shad Khan said, "This is the best team the Jaguars have ever assembled."
So did Woody Johnson about the Jets.
Let's prove it by winning now. So here we are, 2-9. Worst loss today in franchise history. Bye week coming up. Doug Peterson was asked after the game about the possibility of being fired. He said, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And it could happen soon.
Yeah, they got to fire him today. I mean, that game was ridiculous. I think
they're coming on to their. I mean,
It
we
was
got the bye week here. This is
historic, the largest offensive yard differential since '79, I think. Same year as the BCN strike.
Was it the? Yeah, I know. So was it the first 7 or 5 possessions the Lions scored touchdowns?
5. I want
at 5. It was.
I think they scored 3 touchdowns in the second quarter.
Yeah. So obviously, if I'm McCarthy, I want to get fired. And by the way, I'd hire him too. Not McCarthy. If
Doug Peterson.
If I'm Peterson, I'd want to get fired. I might hire him. I don't know if he's a dead candidate, but get him on the cheap.
Now, what about the guy that put together the best team ever assembled, General Manager Trent Baalke? I've talked to several people throughout the league, and there's a belief in some circles
that he's going back to Mykonos.
He could potentially survive into next year as part of a package deal
with Cousin Larry
that would reunite him with someone he worked with back in 1998, 1999 with the New York Jets. That coach is available. He's won a few Super Bowls. His name is Bill Belichick.
Yeah, so what he said is Trent Baalke is the general manager. He could keep his job, and that since they had worked together at one point, that
30 years ago,
that of course he would bring Belichick in. So I made this point to you guys off the air. If Bill Belichick was in the NFL for 40 years, he's been out for an entire less than one. What percentage of the NFL has worked under Bill Belichick? Like in some way, shape, or form. in Cleveland, in New York, in Pittsburgh.
Well, I mean,
for the Lions.
I mean,
for the year, like
for if you just like, is there at least one person in the market? I would say 100%. In every market, there's somebody who's got a connection to having worked with Bill Belichick.
And then I could give you Trent Baalke has worked with, I would imagine, 10, 12, 15 head coaching candidates.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, Florio just says stuff that is out of control. First of all, I would
not all that insightful. I mean, obviously, he's got connections everywhere.
Yeah,
He
just
was
but like
in the
why?
league
Like,
for-
but why? That has. But just because they know each other doesn't have anything to like. You know what I'm saying? There's no information. It's not like I talked to someone who's saying that Belichick is a candidate in Jacksonville, and so what he did is this. He said, and this is what he did. He searched and he said, Shad Khan, the owner, said this is the best talent that they've ever had assembled. So he thinks this is a team that can win now. And then he goes, all right, well, the general manager at some point, like he's like a forensic scientist. The general manager at some point worked with Bill Belichick. Belichick would be looking for a team that's got a lot of talent that could win now. Shkaboom, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if he takes that Jacksonville job, first of all, woof. There was a story that he's going to be selective. Did you see the Diana Rossini thing?
Yes.
That he's going to be selective for about a job.
Oh, sure.
He's a real Ben Johnson. It's him and Ben Johnson. They're the two big candidates. Everyone wants to send you 73-year-old doofus walking around in a sailor suit, in a fishing outfit. That's what they all want. Him, the doofus in the Bridgewater State shirt making the claw. Let's take the old man teetering around with the 24-year-old. He's a superstar. What a candidate. I mean, he's like a moron. There's never in a million years would I hire Bill Belichick.
Let's hire the coach with a girlfriend younger than the players' wives.
I know. But beyond that, like I'm sure all these
Enough to
guys
drink legally.
But if you're one of these rich guys, like you're an owner, and you're banging like all these chicks, like say you're Jerry Jones, and how many 20-year-olds a week do you think Jerry Jones plows through once he puts the injection in? I'm being serious. Like Jerry Jones probably bangs 120-somethings a year. And then you look at Belichick, and this one's got him dressing up and doing all this crap.
Corn mazes.
Like Jerry Jones is paying chicks not to talk about him. And Belichick, that big stupid doofus, is on the internet with one. What an idiot.
Jerry Jones, you want me to go on corn maze? How about I buy it and burn it down and you watch?
Like, do you think these owners are plowing through more chicks? And here's Belichick. Belichick got a young chick. Oh no! Unlike the billionaires that own the teams, they're very faithful to their wives, and they have no access to anyone attractive. They could fly a harem out from Saudi Arabia if they wanted to. Belichick's in his kitchen wearing a Bridgewater State shirt like a schmuck. I wouldn't even do that.
Oh, okay.
If I wouldn't do it, believe me. And look at me, I'm ugly and poor. This guy is old and rich.
How many phone calls is the doofus going to get after the season's over? That's what I want to know.
I don't think there's
I
any way
guarantee you
he
he
gets
gets at least one.
Oh, he's getting calls.
Oh, I'm sure he'll
get phone calls.
I don't think there's any way, and beyond this chick, I don't think there's any way that he gets a job. Any way, shape, or form. I wouldn't want to deal with him for 10 seconds. I mean, he wasn't good. He's not good without Brady. He wants too much power. And even if he says he doesn't want it, it's too much to handle.
He'd be idiotic to go to Jacksonville. My God.
Well, I mean,
just overall be idiotic to go to Jacksonville.
Yeah, he'd go to that huge market and go to London 3 weeks a year. Maybe his lady would like that. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Toucher and Hardy.
Miscommunication. Both of us. We'll take it.
Next up is a trip to South Florida to play Miami on Sunday. The Dolphins beat Las Vegas yesterday at home 34-19 to improve to 4-6. Buffalo beat Kansas City last night 30-21 to hand the Chiefs their first loss of the season. Turning to hockey, the Bruins will be home tonight to play Columbus. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers have the pregame at 6:30. The face-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. The club sent Riley Tufte back to Providence yesterday. Tyler Johnson also back with the club. Brad Marchand and Mark Kastelik both missed practice yesterday. Celtics are off until tomorrow night when they host Cleveland at TD Garden. This is going to be a big one. Cavaliers beat Charlotte last night 128-114. They will come to town undefeated at 15-0. Also, the Celtics will visit with President Joe Biden on Thursday at the White House before playing the Washington Wizards in D.C. on Friday evening. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Associate Roofing. Contact Associate Roofing today for a free roof inspection. Go to AssociateRoofing.com. I'm John Wallach of Boston Tone for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
Boston, the greatest sports town in America.
We have a farm. I have about 200 pigs here.
We got to spill beers on each other without worry about spilling beers on people.
Boston's home for sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Fred, what's it like to work with Hardy and Wallach?
What a golden ticket I've gotten.
There you have it. Toucher and Hardy.
The Sports Hub.
Around the NFL with Toucher and Hardy.
They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
All right, we're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can watch us on YouTube. Just search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. By the way, we'll get to the Lions game, but just real quick, it was the first 7 possessions. They scored touchdowns. First 7 possessions of that game. All right.
That was ridiculous.
That's right. All right, Hardy, what did the people see
I think we were all watching the Kansas City Chiefs trying to remain unbeaten as they visited the Buffalo Bills. First pass of the game for Patrick Mahomes, intercepted. It did not go well for Kansas City, especially late in the game when this happened.
Allen going to step up in the pocket. Now he's going to take it and run, and he's got the first down and more. 10, 5, and muscles his way into the end zone for an unbelievable 26-yard touchdown run. Are you kidding me?
Not that you have to beat Josh Allen, but once again, the ability for your quarterback to move.
We're not going to do the game. Geno Smith won the Seattle game with his feet. Like, Josh Allen was going to get sacked. Do yourself a favor and just one Sunday watch 7 NFL games. Just do yourself so you'll see 14 quarterbacks in how necessary this is. And Drake May's got it. Pressure's coming. No one's open. He's rolling. He's in the grasp of someone. 50% of quarterbacks hit the deck there. No points. Josh Allen gets out of the tackle, gets out of the grasp, decides to take off, and then is fast enough to elude defenders and puts his head down. There was no chance.
And
gets the
big
touchdown.
enough to run over a
and
defensive
big enough
back.
to run a
But
defensive back.
The other part of that game was that play. What a call by Sean McDermott to go for it. 4th down and short. I think it was 2. But Buffalo's only up 2 points. If he doesn't get it there, Mahomes absolutely drives back down the field and Kansas City wins that game. They kick the game-winning field goal. I mean, that one play, I mean, it takes a serious amount of guts to do that.
But I agree with it completely because if I don't, I'm almost positive that you want Mahomes with the ball just with needing to score a touchdown to win.
No, I understand.
No, I understand. No,
but
I'm having a conversation with you. Yeah, like I agree with the call. I'm not challenging you. I just agree with the call. I'm with you. I think that I don't want to give Mahomes the ball with a chance to win the game at all.
Right.
I want to put the game away.
Isn't it amazing, though? I didn't think Kansas City played well yesterday. Not really. But in all of their games, and we went through this last week, in their first 9 games, 7 were decided by 1 score, and 4 of them were decided on the last play of the game. They have not really played well for much of the season. They're just always there because they have the quarterback. They are the least dominant 9-0 team I've ever seen in my life.
Here's the deal. Coaching and quarterback, you know how to win. So many of these games are 1-score games, and it's just a matter of not choking it away or being. It's really not choking it away. In every week, there's a team. Like, they beat that Denver. They won that Denver game. Denver's lined up for a chip shot field goal to win the game, and they block it. Like, it's just knowing how to win games, not choking them away.
Yeah. And
even at this level.
Game was over at that point, 30-21. But just to make sure.
Mahomes in the shotgun. Takes the snap. Back to pass. Has time. Rolls to his right to buy more. Heaves it down the field. And it's intercepted. Picked off by Terrell Bernard. Game, set, match.
So the undefeated season is over. Is there anyone still popping champagne bottles down in Miami when this happens?
Mercury Morris is no longer with us, so I think
so he was the only one doing it.
Morris had a long ride. So,
and from starting in 2007 when the Patriots made a run at it.
Did you see Burleson by any chance? Nate Burleson jump on the table?
All of them did. Coward did. They all did.
But Burleson got balls. Like, is he the one who landed on his feet and then fell on the ground, or was that a guy on ESPN? Were there two networks jumping on tables?
I only thought it was that morning show.
There was morning show. Well, they showed it on ESPN. There was an African American gentleman, I believe it was Nate Burleson.
I'm 90% it was Nate Burleson,
who jumped off the bus onto the table with his feet first, and then obviously the table doesn't break, and so he falls off the table. The table's probably 4 feet off the ground. He falls off the table onto his ass. There's no padding. Jeez. He did something I wouldn't do. Nate Burleson did something.
How about Bill Cowher? How old is Bill Cowher?
But he half-assed it. Burleson was the one who did the real thing.
They pre-broke those tables. The table was
Burleson's didn't break.
No, not Burleson, but the one that he's talking
they
about.
Pre-broke
all of those guys. The table was like sagging in the middle.
I would have done what Cowher did. I would have done that.
At 67 years old, would you do it?
If I keep at this peak athletic performance, I can't see myself going down.
So the Kansas City Chiefs now 9-1. Bills are 9-2, and now the Bills have the bye week. They have a nice long celebration ahead of them. Let's move to the late game from last night.
I saw not 1 second of this game.
Bengals at Chargers. And if you were watching in Phoenix, you had this lovely moment happen.
Burrow fires, punt. Good job staying bounds by Higgins.
When people ask me what the Patriotic Kenny platform's all about, I say it's about giving back.
That's right. Straight to commercial in the middle of a play last night for those watching it.
Wow. Some guy with had to dropped his vape pen at that moment. Whoopsies. And you can imagine the sports fans of Phoenix very upset that the Cincinnati LA game was interrupted. I would be fit to be tied.
Well, I don't know what play that was necessarily. It wasn't the winning touchdown. It wasn't this play.
Hand off to Dobbins, and there goes Dobbins on his horse to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, into the end zone. Touchdown, Chargers.
He said to no one. Now the deal is, how often do you hear on his horse?
That's usually when a outfielder's tracking a fly ball. It has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, and if it was 1930. Yeah. By the way, you see I gave Adam a book today.
Oh, yeah.
Was that a horse book?
Roger Kahn, yes. I did see that.
That's tax deductible.
Yeah. I started looking at, for the first time ever in my life over the weekend, that Seabiscuit movie.
I've had that on DVD, like, since it came out for some reason and never watched it.
Yeah, so who's the kid in it?
Looney von Loonenstein.
The actor?
Yeah.
He was Spider-Man. What's his name?
Tobey Maguire?
I thought it was
Tobey Maguire.
I thought it was the kid that went nuts.
He's the jockey who painted his hair red.
Shock of red hair. Red curly hair. Very unsettling. I couldn't watch it.
Okay.
They show the curtains matching the drapes?
Not that I saw, no.
Does he have a shock of red pubic hair?
I would watch it long enough to see that, but otherwise.
But it was a scene, just a gratuitous scene like the Menendez brothers, where he's at a urinal and he turns around and he goes, "Why?" Just so you can see. It's a Hardy boy or a Archie situation. All right, very good.
Let's go.
So anyway, the Chargers won that.
Chargers is 7-3.
7-3.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I thought. I'm like,
unbelievable.
Not a bad football team.
Harbaugh's a good coach.
Yes, he is.
And it's funny because when you see the way Harbaugh motivates, for instance, in his office, he has a collection of helmets that have been broken during play. Yes. And the idea is, like, look at how badass this guy is. Like, the helmet broke. You wouldn't think in a million years that would work on adult professionals. Like, you would think that they were above that. I'm very happy it does.
Yeah.
Like, I just like that there's still that rah-rah. It makes me like football more and like sports more when that's effective. Like, they're not such cold, calculated businessmen. Because I think as a society, with that Jake Paul fight, if I can, just for 1 second.
Sure.
Like, we've all just accepted that it was a calculated thing. Like, I think that if someone makes enough money now that we kind of just go, oh, then it's fine. Like, oh, well, he made a lot of money, so it's fine. That wasn't always the case. There was a certain, like, level of integrity that was needed in order to buy into something. And that's gone away. So, long story longer. That's why I like Harbaugh. I like that works. I like that it works. Go ahead.
The other part of it is, think about this. The quarterback, Justin Herbert, all of his receivers are gone from last year. All his tight end is gone from last year. His top running back is gone from last year. And then won 5 games last year. And now they're 7-3. That exclusively has to do with the head coach and the attitude.
Yeah.
I mean, how many quarterbacks lose their entire receivers room and get better?
And have Ladd McConkey being your lead receiver and
Will Dissly is your tight end.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're winning.
Yeah, and Dobbins has become a pretty good running back.
Austin Eckler's a good running back from last year, who's no longer there.
Yeah, and Dobbins came in and is better than Eckler.
Yes.
I would argue.
And Joe Burrow, who threw for 356 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, but T. Higgins, 9 catches on 13 targets. Jamar Chase, 13 targets as well, only 7 catches to show for it. So, Bengals
Higgins
coming up short.
Is going to make so much money. He's not going back to Cincinnati, obviously. They got to sign Chase, and they're horribly cheap. And so, but they got to re-sign Chase. T. Higgins is going to go somewhere for an incalculable amount of money and not live up to 1% of that.
Yeah, when he's not lining up opposite Jamar Chase.
Yeah, it's like the Polk situation. when you're not
you're
on
the
the
number
other,
one guy.
Yeah,
it's a little different.
When Adunze is your other receiver, it's a little bit easier to go off. That's why I thought Polk was a bad pick. I don't know why you take the second guy, unless they're a slot guy, a little quick slot guy.
Let's go to Pittsburgh, where it was field goals, and more field goals for Pittsburgh, but that was enough to put them in front as the Ravens marched down the field and tried to make it a ball game.
Lamar off the play fake, steps up, fires to the end zone. It is caught at the 1, in for a touchdown. Zay Flowers, redemption. And the Ravens are a 2-point conversion away from tying this game up.
That made it 18-16, and indeed, they had to go for 2.
Lamar takes the snap, running to the left. There's a crowd of Steelers. He fakes 1. He can't get the ball out of his hands. He lobs it in the air, and it will fall incomplete. The 2-point conversion, no good.
You just lined up in that formation the opposite way.
And the Steelers moved to 8-2 on the season without scoring a touchdown yesterday.
Coaching.
Is Russell Wilson actually decent? Has he gone through the Mike Tomlin car wash?
Yes, he is decent, and he's way. And it's not like he had a crappy coach last year. He had an a-hole coach last year in Sean Payton, but look what he's done with Knicks.
Yeah,
that's the best rivalry in football by far. Did you? You guys probably didn't see much of it. Boy, do they hate each other.
YouTube TV actually lost the game for a while during the 1 o'clock window. Did you read that?
No.
YouTube TV lost the Baltimore-Cleveland game. I don't know for how long.
Baltimore-Steelers game. It was on TV here. It was the competing game on the networks here. But boy, do they hate each other. Oh, are those physical games. So much fighting. They really fight. It's quite exciting. True hatred. Very rare nowadays. Goes back to my Harbaugh thing. Makes you feel good. These two teams truly hate each other. They're willing to hurt it. They want to hurt each other.
Well, let me tell you who felt good yesterday, Fred. fans of the New York Jets
for
a huge moment in this game.
Rodgers on the slant to Devontae Adams. Breaks a tackle. Adams at the 40. And Adams shoved out of bounds by Nick Cross. Finally, a little juice for the Jets. A gain of 24.
And that was a first down. The crowd goes crazy. At what point in the game did that take place, Fred?
Couple, maybe a minute and change left in the first half.
90 seconds left in the first half. First down.
The crowd ironically cheers. Aaron Rodgers is horrible. So you say, no, he's not. No, he's not. He's not horrible.
22 of 29, 2 touchdowns?
Yeah. He's horrible. Horrible. No hyperbole. Horrible. He's worse than Drake May. Yes, he is. He's worse than Drake May. They get the ball. First of all, the defense sucks. They let Richardson go down the field. They need a touchdown to win. They let him go down the field lickety-split. Sauce Gardner again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Sauce Gardner. I wouldn't pay that guy $5. Talk about a fall from grace. That guy ate his own BS and got fat and happy off of it. They let him go down and score. They get the ball, and they're like, oh, Aaron Rodgers, they just need a field goal. 52 seconds left, 42 seconds left. Aaron Rodgers' first play takes the snap. Now, there's someone within 5 yards of him, so he gets very nervous because he can't elude the rush. So he throws the ball behind him. Just throws it behind him. Tight end has to get it, runs 30 seconds off the clock. Congratulations. Because, Lord knows, a veteran wouldn't know to throw the ball away. But you want to talk about not being able to move. Boy, does he blow. Go ahead.
Is his career over?
Oh! Apparently they don't have money if they cut him.
Right.
It's no guaranteed money. There's zero chance that he's on that team.
Okay.
I can't over-describe to you how bad he is. Even if it was for league minimum, I wouldn't keep him.
This was a discussion on the late shows. Aaron Rodgers, this may be it for him. He may want to play next season because they asked him, am I going to be? Oh, yeah, sure. He may want to play this season, but no team will pick him up next season if the Jets don't have him.
I guarantee you 1,000% Aaron Rodgers is not on an NFL team next year. For those of you who have not been watching, he is horrible. His eyes are permanently in the back of his head with the rolling. He's just dude, they've won 3 games. I don't care if it's everyone else's fault in the world. If you're such a great, this speaks to how great Tom Brady was. How there was always this conversation that Aaron Rodgers hasn't won as much. He's not as good a winner, but he's a better quarterback. You should see what he does. Remember the thing that I used to make complain about? The one thing, the ex-quarterback talking about, around the water cooler, all these idiots are Dilfer. Notice Dilfer doesn't have a job now.
Yeah,
I saw that coming. Dilfer was like, these idiots around the water cooler. They're talking about Tom Brady. They don't know. I'm a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers does all these things. Tom Brady at Aaron Rodgers' age went to a worse situation, arguably, than Aaron Rodgers is in terms of talent. Won a Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers is going to win less games than the Patriots. I can't tell you how much of a disaster it is. And they're trying. That's another thing, is they're trying. They quit like Jacksonville. They're trying. The team's trying to play. Quinnen Williams is maybe the best defensive tackle in football, like a game wrecker. Sauce Gardner sucks, and this idiot at quarterback is a liability, a real piece of garbage.
I think Mike Francesa is still in on him, though. We'll hear what he has to say as we continue to go around the NFL. After
Good to
this.
hear from the Pope.
You let Richardson go down the field on you.
2 touchdown runs and a touchdown pass for Richardson yesterday.
Yeah, because quarterback that can run.
Also, Lions and Jaguars, Packers and Bears. We'll get to all of it.
All right, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned.
we're Toucher and Hardy around the NFL. Real quick, because we have Francesa audio to play. The Jets lost in the last minute to Indianapolis yesterday, 28-27. What did Francesa have to say about this affair?
Ulbrich is a very nice man. For him to say just a minute ago, good time for a bye. Good time for a bye. How about good time for bye-bye? What do you mean a good time for a bye? Take a hard look at the one-eds, okay? Because you're not going to be here next year. Take a hard look at what? This is a joke.
Yeah, it's
Kind
a
of
good.
a joke.
What you're calling him out for saying it's a good time for a bye? Yeah, he wants to get away. That's what he was saying. It's a good time for a bye. You think Ulbricht's under the impression, like Francesa,
that they're going to turn things around during the bye week,
or that he's keeping his job? I mean, I'm fairly certain that Ulbricht knows that he's not going to be the coach of the New York Jets or any other team next year. I don't think that he's thrilled with the position he was put in either. I'm sure he wasn't very excited about Saleh getting fired and him getting thrown into that position and having a guy who they gave the team to be an absolute disgrace. And my son did ask me a couple times during the game today, do we have to keep rooting for this team? Like, do we have to keep rooting for this team?
Oh, that's bad.
They're losing them. They're going to lose them. They're going to lose them.
And then Fred said, nope.
And then there will
buckle up.
There will be no more.
No, that's the best thing. Fred's nope, you have to keep rooting for them.
No, he'll never like the Patriots because I've ingrained that in him. But
the Toucher name is in terms of how it's attached to Jets fandom may be over.
Yeah, I
Could
mean,
be it.
He's got no loser cousins in Long Island anymore. They're all dying off. So I apologize.
Yeah.
The one of them, I do apologize.
You know what?
For that. That's not true.
It's
I
not-
was being too flippant.
And
they
I-
were a couple of them very nice.
I don't want to talk about losers anyway. You know what I want to talk about, Fred?
Go ahead.
Winners.
Goff takes the direct snap, looks, throws, it is complete. There goes J-Mo right side. He's got the angle to the end zone. 25-20, 15-10, 5, end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. J-Mo flies into the end zone and the Lions extend their lead. Once he's got the angle, you're dead and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
Jared Goff.
They're getting a little full of themselves.
412 yards, 4 touchdowns versus Mac Jones, who is 17 of 29. He threw for 138 yards. Obviously, no touchdowns and a pick as the Lions defeat the Jaguars 52-6.
Jesus God.
Why?
Amon-Ra St. Brown, 11 catches on 11 targets.
Yeah.
161
Wasn't the
yards.
spread 14? We were actually talking about that on
13 and a
Friday.
half.
Yeah.
13 and a half.
I will tell you this, is that I don't know why Jared Goff is not now. Him and Allen, right? Who else is
Lamar
it?
Jackson.
No. Lamar Jackson didn't perform well yesterday.
No, he didn't, but he was one of the
No, he
favorites, if
was,
not
but I
the
would
favorite.
But I would say now, because it was Lamar Jackson, number one, and then Jared Allen, and then
all right, as of this morning, real
Jared
quick from what I'm looking at, Josh Allen is the favorite, plus 150, Lamar plus 200, Goff plus 600.
It's
That's
just
what I
funny,
see.
like, Goff is never going to get... He just, I guess, is not going to win it. I mean, he was perfect yesterday. He had a perfect quarterback rating. He was perfect. He couldn't have done more. They pulled him out of the game.
Yeah, Hendon Hooker went in and took a few reps at quarterback. By the way,
you dangle that kid out, I bet you there's a team that takes him, gives you a pretty good draft pick for that Hendon Hooker.
So, in the Super Bowl era, 3 teams have won 3 of their first 10 games by at least 35 points. The 69 Vikings, the 73 Falcons, and
my favorite Viking,
the 2024 Lions.
How did the Vikings?
69? You know,
how did the Vikings and Falcons do that year?
No one knows. Those records weren't kept. They did keep record, though, of how many teams won 3 of their first 10 games by at least 35 points.
Okay.
The Anzalone, the guy with the long hair, broke his arm.
Yeah, he's out 6 to 8 weeks.
And he stood up and he goes, "It's broke." He was a badass. He stood up and he's like, "It's broken."
That's how I'd react.
Yeah.
Broke the damn
You'd be
thing.
full of amphetamines and opiates. You'd be knocking it out of the park too. But they love Anzalone there because he's got the advantage of having long blonde hair. If you have long blonde hair in a faceless game, you really stand out. And so even when you're like just a pretty good player, he's not so great. Remember the kid from Michigan here, the middle linebacker with the long hair?
Oh,
and he got all the ads right away.
Chase Winovich.
Yeah,
Chase
there it
Winovich.
is.
He was no good. And I kept saying that. I go, the only reason this guy's getting ads is because his hair comes out of his helmet, and he's white. Because it doesn't seem to, black guys don't seem to get the same kind of shine off the long hair. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
it's got to be it's got to be blonde. I'll just say brunettes in general.
He also captured the public's imagination by listing his items for sale on Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, he's like my ex-wife, who's very, very busy on the Facebook
Chase
Marketplace.
Winovich, 29 years old, in the league or not?
No, he's not in the league. No, I know for a fact he's not in the league.
Not in the
It's all
league.
done.
That's true. He was in Miami last year.
And as interesting as some of his theories were while he was a player, they've become more interesting. He's got some ideas about the world.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Big podcast guy?
Let's just say I don't know if he's a flat earther, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him at a convention where, just learning about stuff.
I got 2 words for him. Cold tub. Invest a couple grand in one of them.
Snap you right out of all that nonsense. All right, let's
rations for when the apocalypse comes.
Let's go to the Packers, who are visiting the Chicago Bears, trying to get the win.
Here's the snap. Placement made. The kick is blocked. It is blocked. It is blocked. And the Packers have won. Beautiful. It is blocked. It comes up short, and the Packers have won 11 straight over the Bears, 20-19. Oh my goodness! What a finish.
Bears have their issues this season, but how much extra does it hurt when you lose to the Packers that way?
Another example of a team not knowing how to win. I mean, this is just what happens. The good teams make the field goal. The bad teams get them blocked. It's never the bad team blocking the field goal at the end. It's Kansas City blocking the field goal against Denver, who's not that bad. It's Green Bay blocking the field goal against Chicago. That's the difference in the NFL. These are all very close games. 18-16, 20-19, 28-27. These are the difference between 20-17. These are the difference between winning and losing is a hair, and they just know how to do it.
And in that, I'm sorry, John, but in that division, you're going into that game as a Bears fan. You're 4-5. You're thinking, all right, season's probably slipping away, especially when you've got the Lions, you got the Packers
the Lions
to deal with.
Twice.
The notion that let's just beat the Packers. Let's have that to hang our hats on at this point in the season. We'll see what happens. Probably nothing good for the rest of the season. At least we'll have that. No, you can't have that either.
Like the Chargers in the AFC, Green Bay sneaky good, 7-3.
Yeah.
And this is how good the NFC is. Green Bay is the 6th seed at 7-3.
You want to know Chicago's schedule? Coming up, they host the Vikings. They're at the Lions, at the 49ers, at the Vikings, against the Lions, the Seahawks, and at the Packers.
Jesus. Wow. Okay.
So, Eberflus, it was nice that they kept you around for another year. But
so
you can say goodbye.
their second to last game is at Seattle, huh?
No, at home against Seattle.
Oh, home against Seattle.
So, Seattle, and it's a primetime game. So, Seattle, it's the day after Christmas. Maybe Seattle got nothing to play for.
Seattle's showing us something yesterday as they had a rivalry game against the 49ers. They were in San Francisco.
Gets the snap. Looks. Steps up. Gonna run. 10, 5. Gino. Touchdown. Seahawks. Holy catfish.
Oh,
wow.
Hey.
Watch your mouth.
Holy catfish.
I wonder if Brady is the last pocket quarterback. Like, if Brady's the last immobile quarterback. Because, again, watch these. Stafford really isn't mobile.
I was going to say Stafford, but I would consider him almost in the Brady era. I mean, he's on his, last few years.
Yeah, but because I'll tell you, if you can't move, the margin of error is so small. Like, it really is. Like, the guy's got to get open right away. It's you got to be pinpoint. Being able to move is all the difference. Being able to score. I mean, just Allen and Geno Smith with game-winning touchdown runs as quarterbacks.
Mac Jones.
Well, I mean, quarterbacks that are going to play in the NFL.
Yeah. Played yesterday.
In the biggest, arguably the biggest margin of victory in terms of yards of all time.
I'm trying to think. Not Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield can move.
Yeah, no, I'm just processing as we go through this.
Like a kid, a guy that, like, I wouldn't draft a guy that's a pocket passer. I wouldn't at all.
Daniel
I never
Jones
would.
sucks, but he can move.
Yeah, he's athletic.
No, a statue quarterback.
Yeah, like a guy that just, like a Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers, who is like that now. Like, it's just you can't play. You got to get a guy who can move. Boy, oh boy, I can't believe
Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert is athletic.
Herbert,
he can move, but he's not going out and picking up tons of yards.
I'm not talking about Lamar Jackson.
Not that.
Okay.
No, Herbert. I remember Herbert in college. I mean, he ran all the time in college.
No, I'm not talking about a guy who runs like a 4.3 40. I'm just talking about a guy who can move, extend plays, and pick up first downs if you need it. It's
how athletic is Goff?
he's more of a pocket passer. You're right.
Goff stands and delivers. He's really good at it this year. But that's the closest I can come. Is Goff.
Yeah, he can evade the rush if he has to, but you're right. He's not a particular mobile quarterback. But remember, he was
in the league.
He was the number one overall pick, and he's an athletic guy. I mean, he's a prototypical size and strength of a quarterback.
Goff's been in the league 8 years, but over the last 5, I mean, he wouldn't be taking number one overall now.
No,
I guess that's my point.
But I wonder if he doesn't pick up first downs with his feet because they go don't. You know, I wonder if they go like don't do it.
Yeah, you got other guys to do that.
Like I don't like they can't have that guy getting hurt.
Right. That's true. They're so
I just don't know. I was telling John in the bathroom that Aaron Rodgers, I believe, has 11 passes that have traveled over 10 yards or more in the air this season. Or if it's not this season, it's like the last 7 games. When you can't move, you can't play. You can't play.
We're going to talk to Bob Socci coming up at 9 o'clock. We'll talk about yesterday's game, and the Patriots will visit the Dolphins on Sunday. But, Fred, we discussed the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight earlier, and it got us down the road of the most disappointing television events of all time. I had a couple thrown at me over the weekend. I wanted to see if you remember these and how disappointed you were in them. One in particular that was so bad. I already told Zoe, and I could hear him screaming at his phone as I told him how bad it was.
Well, that's a tease that's working on me, baby. You're edging me right now. All right, so we'll be back. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
Patriots lost to the LA Rams in Foxborough yesterday, 28-22. Drake made 282 yards and 2 touchdowns, but threw a game-ending interception with just under 2 minutes left at midfield. Patriots now 3-8. They visit 4-6 Miami this Sunday. Dolphins beat the Las Vegas Raiders in Southern Florida yesterday, 34-19. Bruins in action tonight at home against Columbus. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers have the pregame at 6:30 and the face-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. And the Celtics are off until tomorrow night. They'll host Cleveland, and the Cavaliers will come to town unbeaten at 15-0. They beat Charlotte last night, 128-114. One other note on the Celtics, they'll visit with President Joe Biden on Thursday at the White House to celebrate their championship. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Best Ford. Looking for great deals on new Fords? Go to the Best first. Best Ford in Nashua. Head to bestfordofnashua.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9 o'clock.
More Toucher and Hardy on the way.
glove. What was that? Could you tell us?
Oh, I have a habit of biting my gloves when I fight, yes.
Why do you do that?
I have a biting fixation.
I've heard about that. I don't want to know more.
I have won this game.
Did you?
It's the only game I've ever won.
You beat Mike Tyson?
Yep.
Did you ever play the original version of Punch Out in the arcade?
No.
Yes,
That was
did.
really cool. I mean, I
did.
obviously played the NES version. But
We had Glass Joe.
Yep.
We had
Yep.
Piston Hurricane.
Yes,
We
instead of
had
Piston Honda.
we had Bald Bull.
Kid Quick.
Kid Quick.
Yep.
Now,
But it wasn't
Mr.
Soda
Sa-
Popinski. It
No,
was
it
like
wasn't.
vodka
Drunkinsky was the original version. They
no,
had to
but
change it,
but
yeah.
in the arcade after Bald Bull, it was Kid Quick. Then the Italian Pizza Pasta.
Yeah, that's right.
And then Mr. Sandman was the champion.
So Pizza Pasta was the guy with the moved his gloves. You hit him in the stomach. Or no,
No,
that was
that-
the Bald
That's
Bull.
King Hippo.
That was
from,
King. Yeah, it was
King
King.
Hippo.
King
the NES
Hippo.
version.
You know what I'm talking about? He rotated his arm and would go whoosh uppercuts.
Was Pizza Pasta, was he like a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy?
Exactly.
Okay.
He'd been on Rogan 6 times. All right. So anyway, everyone watched this Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight, and it was awful, and it didn't work, and they didn't try, and no one came away pleased with it. And then it got me thinking, like, why I don't even care about Jake Paul. I don't even care if he gets knocked out. Like, I'd never watch anything with it having to do with him again, because I realized I didn't care who won that fight at all. And then someone sent me something why I should hate him, and it's all like he tells kids not to like school, and I said, well, so does everyone else that's trying to appeal to kids, including when I was a kid. It wasn't the punk rock bands and rap groups weren't saying, hey kids, get an education. It's kind of the universal, I'm sure that's been going on since the Stone Age. Don't follow your dad when he hunts. It's drag. You know what I'm saying? All right. But anyway, so I don't want to waste any more time. So it was people were disappointed. And you did a thing for your Sirius XM situation where you asked people the most disappointing television events of all time.
Right, because that was very disappointing Saturday morning. I'm sure a lot of us were bleary-eyed after trying to watch that thing the night before, which was riddled with technical errors and people trying to watch on phones or whatever else you could do. But yeah, the actual event itself was also disappointing. So I asked, all right, what's the most disappointing TV event of all time? We already mentioned one, which is probably the winner. If I were to go through and tally up all the replies, the opening of Al Capone's vault.
Yes, Geraldo Rivera.
Geraldo Rivera, big special, opening Al Capone's vault. It was, I mean, just tons of historical, pre-produced things leading up to it, and they finally broke through, and I believe they found a couple of empty bottles and some trash. There was practically nothing inside the vault.
But if you want to know how big a rubes everyone was back then, just a bunch of rubes, like say there was like 1 million dead bodies in there. Like they knocked the thing down. I mean, they would have been decomposed. It would have just been a bunch of scattered bones. You know, and it was live on TV. And like, even if there was a bunch of documents, what is he gonna like sit Indian style, or I'm sorry, whatever you're supposed to say now, sit on the ground,
Indigenous American style.
Thank you.
Crisscross applesauce.
All right, very good. Whatever you're supposed to say now. I honestly am ignorant
Good
to
for
it.
you for catching that immediately.
Yeah, I whatever, dude. I don't even know. Whatever you're supposed to say now.
Why don't you give me something and take it back?
Oh yeah, that's right. The Seinfeld.
That's right.
That's a great Seinfeld. You got the cigar store Indian. But say there was a bunch of documents. Like, what is he supposed to sit on the ground and like start reading them aloud from a file cabinet?
Geraldo was a lawyer at one point. I'm sure he could decipher them.
But I'm saying on live TV, like there was no payoff. Like nothing was going to pay off. But go ahead.
Another Tyson fight was brought up as among the most disappointing. The
Michael Spinks.
No, McNeely.
Oh, Peter McNeely. Oh, I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Okay.
Yeah,
that was fantastic.
I was at Mark McDonald's
I
house.
really enjoyed that.
My friend had a sleepover for that one.
And again, like the Holyfield fight, I remember watching that with my buddies in Albuquerque where he bit the ear. Okay, it ended quickly.
Yes.
But wow, that was spectacle.
No, it was terrible. That was it. That was
the
awful.
Spinks one was bad because he hit him in the stomach. Spinks fell over, and it was over 38 seconds in.
Okay, I can address both things. the Spinks fight was great because it added to the lore of Mike Tyson. Like, Spinks was a good fighter, and Tyson knocked him out.
Oh, he was the linear champion.
You wanted to see Tyson knock a guy out in the first round. Now, the Holyfield was a bad fight because you actually wanted to see them fight, and when he got into trouble, he tried to get out of it by biting his ear off. Like, it was really a cowardly thing to do. So that was upsetting to me.
But there was one that got brought up here, and I had forgotten about it, and it was at a time when we were desperate to watch some type of sports on TV, and we all wanted to see something.
Oh, my God.
Do you know what, Wallach, do you want to take a guess?
Well, you said that, and I remember we were crazy. The game of horse on ESPN with Mark Jones.
Sean Wallach nailed it.
Yeah.
Do you remember the COVID horse game?
I do, because
I didn't watch it.
Mark Jones was at his home in Tampa, Orlando, in Florida. He had like this random NBA
Who's
jersey.
Mark Jones?
He works for ESPN.
Okay.
You would not, if I pointed to him, you'd go,
I just
he had a
don't know who he
random
is.
NBA jersey like tacked to the wall with thumbtacks behind him, and then they went to a bunch of different places that were on Zoom. Like, for instance,
They were like
Trae Young,
FaceTiming themselves on their iPhones.
Trae Young was in his parents' home and in his old driveway that he grew up in, shooting on a basket. They were playing horse that way.
Can you imagine if they got those guys together outside and under the same basket, the amount of disease that would have been floating between all of them? We would have been cooked.
That's not the problem here, Fred.
Not only
That's
that,
a different subject entirely.
Looking back, imagine 5 guys playing horse.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
outside, it would have really been a carrier.
Yes. Horse and the connections would break up randomly, and you had poor Zach Levine.
It would have been as dangerous as us being allowed to lift the flags out of the
ground
holes
on
on the golf courses.
Yeah, the
that's
golf
right.
course, because
Oh
we're
my
all
God,
touching
they're
the same
so
thing.
Stupid, all of us.
Really. But
really
in
in addition to the bad production quality and seeing these guys in their parents' home shooting in the driveway, nobody was making shots.
That's true.
They couldn't even hit the shots, so they just gave and went on
They
forever.
were probably
and it
all
was-
drunk. I mean, it was COVID.
I hope they were.
They were probably all wasted. But it's funny that you guys were disappointed by that.
The best was after someone made a shot, they had to race right up to the camera because they raced right up to their phone because they couldn't see what the other person was doing.
No, because that would have killed everyone. I'll tell you, the only thing I remember being on TV from that is Tiger King. And if anything Tiger King comes up now, I immediately, I have this visceral Pavlovian reaction.
Because it reminds you of early COVID.
Of horrible early COVID, where I admittedly lost my crap. I did not like COVID. And now I'm very angry about the whole situation.
Several finales got a lot of votes. The Seinfeld finale, most disappointing TV event of all time.
No.
It
makes
terrible.
sense.
I know what they're
watch
trying
it
to
again.
do, but it went, okay, it's not funny.
Not particularly, no.
No, well, that's a problem for a show that built itself on being funny.
There was a no-win situation.
I don't know. Well,
They couldn't do anything heartwarming or tragic, so they were looking a little bit of a corner.
The other problem was that they leaned so hard into them being mean. Their personalities and characters kind of changed in that last episode.
Yes.
The whole setup of them standing there watching and laughing at the guy getting assaulted.
It was the anti-heartwarming season or series ender. They were really backed themselves into a corner where they couldn't win. Because nothing they couldn't have a gimmick. Nothing tragic could happen. Nothing good could happen. It had to be nothing. They really had to be nothing. Nothing. So what are you going to do? So and how do we bring everyone back? It was it wasn't funny. You're right. I could see why you didn't like it. I have a little bit of leniency for it because I know what they were trying to do.
And then, of course, The Sopranos fade to black, which now you go back and watch it now, or you watch the entire series and you're like, that's cool. That's a badass way to end a TV show like that. In the moment, though, that was disappointing.
Is the last episode of Lost in there anywhere?
Yes. The entire last season, my buddy Dave was texting me privately on this. He's like, the whole last season of Lost. Which, I'll take your word for it. I watched the first 2 episodes of that show and never watched it.
I got sucked into Lost, and
I'll never forget how angry you were that next morning.
I
man.
could. Okay, so like
Holy
science
pissed.
fiction people, like you're like, wow, they
Oh.
created this whole world. They're so smart. Like there's all these mysteries and everything. They're so smart. Like look at how clever these guys are. They're so much smarter than me. You could have done it. Here's a bunch of crap that happens, and you're gonna wonder why. And
Just
never mind.
Leave it hang there.
Like if you just said to me, like write down a bunch of random crap, and then we'll put it in a show, and there will be no reason why. I could easily do it. So could you. It's like a Fellini film. It's just exists for nothing.
But I think you're right about one thing, Fred. Trying to put what happened on Friday night in the context of all these other horrible, disappointing television events, I don't think it's going to end up ranking because the whole Jake Paul aspect of it. Like I know I didn't like him, but I really didn't know why. And the fact is, like that half of it doesn't have enough juice to make it carry over and be one of the lasting big disappointments.
My thing is that if society is not completely falling apart, and I don't care about Jake Paul either way, like I really just don't care, and this is kind of my point, that should be his payday. That should be like his $30 million payday. Congratulations. Now it's time to, like, it's like Huckleberry Finn. Like, now it's time to leave the town. You sold your elixir. Everyone's drinking and realizing it doesn't work. Now you can't go back to that town. Like the next Jake Paul thing, it's completely on you. Like that existed. I watched it with my daughter. She knows who Jake Paul is. I watched it for the Tyson thing. We both found it to be incredibly boring. He had it, and that was it, and now it's over.
I do hope somebody multiple people at Netflix today get, if not fired, at least screamed at to the point of tears. Where I want their year ruined.
I'll tell you this. Well, they're going to be excited the day there's so many eyes on it. I'll guarantee you this. There's someone on some platform that's going to pay a lot of money for the next one and is going to end up losing their ass and getting fired because it's one of these dumb executives that just goes, duh, and throws like a bunch of money at something that was popular once and will never be popular again, a.k.a. the Kelsey Brothers podcast, which will be an abject failure. Because they are less famous today than they were yesterday. And that will continue to happen. Bob Socci is never going to lose his shine. And he'll be on with us because he's got that Riz. That was for the kids. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy.
Patriots! Score!
WBZ FM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
The LA Rams got 4 touchdown passes from Matthew Stafford. They beat the Patriots yesterday 28-22 at Gillette Stadium. Drake May threw for 282 yards and a pair of scores, but Gerard Mayo also saw him throw a game-ending interception with just under 2 minutes left on a throw that Demario Douglas never looked back for.
Look, we'll grow into being able to finish out and finish and close out these back. Just got to go back to work, get on the practice field. Tomorrow, we'll clean up a lot of this stuff, and then Wednesday is change the page onto the next game.
Patriots are now 3-8. They visit the Miami Dolphins this coming Sunday. Dolphins are 4-6 after beating Las Vegas yesterday in South Florida 34-19. The NFL Network is reporting at this hour that coming out of their bye week, the New York Giants have benched quarterback Daniel Jones. It appears Tommy DeVito will start against Tampa Bay this Sunday. Kansas City suffered their first loss of the season last night, 30-21 in Buffalo. Bruins had yesterday off. They host Columbus tonight. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers have the pregame at 6:30 and the face-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Celtics' next game is going to be tomorrow night at home against Cleveland, and the Cavaliers will come to town undefeated. They improved to 15-0 last night by beating Charlotte 128-114. After that game, the Celtics visit the Washington Wizards on Friday night, but first, they're scheduled to meet with President Joe Biden at the White House on Thursday. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the new fall flavors at the 99, like the freshly baked home-style chicken pot pie packed with chicken and topped with a buttery, flaky crust. You gotta love the 9s. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
To us, Boston pride runs deep.
I'm a Bostonian!
This is Boston's Home for Sports.
Bow, bow, bow!
98.5 The Sports Hub.
What's the best way to listen to Toucher and Hardy?
Well, you're going to have to spend $40.
Cough it up, and let's get back to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Toucher and Hardy. People always go, what is this? So to save you the email, listen please. It is Souls of Mischief taxi cab. It was not cleared. The sample was not cleared with who's the guy? Anyway, his album Nautilus was sampled by everybody. Beats to the rhyme. Nothing's been sampled more. And that's what it is. Taxi Cab by Souls of Mischief. It's only available online. It was never on a record. The sample was never cleared. It's a cool song. There you go. Bob Socci, thank you for playing it, Adam. But it is, believe me, why are you babbling? Because I'll get 5 emails about what song that is. Bob Socci, voice of the New England Patriots, joins us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Bob Soci's hot takes are powered by Bigelow Tea. If you want to know what keeps Bob's voice in peak condition, it's his hot cup of Bigelow Tea. Hot takes and hot tea, Bigelow Tea. Grab a mug and tea proud.
My man Mario C.
You can't front on that. All right. Hi, Bob.
Hi, good morning, guys. I want to apologize for the technical issues last week. I appreciate your patience. Hopefully, the internet cooperates today. I assure you it was nothing intentional last week on my part.
Well, I, for one, remember exactly what you're talking about and have a full memory of.
And we were all convinced you did it intentionally. Yeah. And we took it personally.
Well, the subject matter is kind of sensitive, but let's not go there.
Okay. I really don't remember.
No, I don't remember
either. He had
either.
to join us on the phone. He had trouble getting. He had to do it on a phone call last week.
Oh, Bob, the world doesn't revolve around you.
It doesn't?
No.
No.
All right. Volin wrote a thing being very critical of the decision making of Gerard Mayo, and he used the example of not going for it on 4th and 2 in a 2-score game and settling for the field goal. Let's start there. What was your opinion on his decision there?
Well, Zoe was certainly on board with that thinking too, along with Ben, that the Patriots should have gone for the touchdown when it was 4th and goal from the 2. And we were critical when they went for 2 after the score down by the same margin at Jacksonville or in London. And so yesterday they tried to kick after the score by low, and obviously the extra point was blocked. So in that case, kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. But going back to the decision on 4th and goal to go, I didn't have as much of an issue with that as others, only because I thought, okay, it's still third quarter. You got a chance to keep your team in the game. If you don't convert here, the game's over, essentially. The other part of it, though, too, for me, is I think the frustration to get to that point with what they were trying to do in tight. They've gone to these heavy condensed formations, and it allowed them to sneak out Vidarian low with that unbalanced line for a touchdown, the pass to the tackle eligible. But I don't think that we've seen enough success in those kind of compact formations. And this is, look, I may be proven wrong, and probably so, but just anecdotally thinking back through recent years, when they go condensed, when they really pack everything in and you telegraph run, it just hasn't necessarily worked out unless the quarterback has pulled the ball like last week in Chicago and thrown it to Polk, or, for example, yesterday to Vidarian low. Even when Ramondre Stevenson scored that game-winning touchdown against the Jets, he barely got in. So I thought in that case, maybe that's where we would see the play that we saw, or some type of play along the same lines in the preseason with Drake May, given an opportunity to read and react and run, or at least some kind of an option using the quarterback's movement down there, or spreading things out a little bit. So I was more critical at that point of kind of the approach they took to get to 4th down than that decision at that point. But either way, they didn't stop the Rams, so it became a moot point.
I'm wondering where you think Drake May is right now. We're used to him scrambling and creating more time and hitting guys on the run, but yesterday we saw a little bit of a different version. He stood in there against the blitz and still managed to deliver. It just seems like his game is rounding out exceptionally well. We all know he's good. We all know he's the future, but he seems to show us something different every week.
I would agree, John. I thought yesterday he was at his best the first part of that game, especially the way he distributed the ball. And I even asked him post-game if he felt like the playbook is expanding for him now. And a lot of times he was under pressure, and it didn't look like that. I know a former Patriot player who's in the media who used to appear on our station and then went to work for another station, made a comment about how effortless it looks. And I think that's really telling about how good a player is when it seems to come easy to him. And I thought yesterday, everything for May, the decision-making, the movement in the pocket, even when he moved outside the pocket, there's a control to his game now, and yet he's still making things happen very quickly. And I thought the decision-making yesterday was very good, in the ball distribution is evident to that. And you look at the numbers overall this year, I think the touchdown passes that he's thrown, every pass has been thrown to a different guy thus far this season with Drake May as their quarterback, another sign of his growth. But I think you're absolutely right. He was pressured on nearly half of his dropbacks yesterday, I think at 40%, according to Next Gen Stats.
By the way, you're good with May, trust me. Watching other quarterbacks. Drake May's already better than
Aaron Rodgers.
No, Drake May's a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers. He is 100%. Let's get. I just want to go over one more decision because I found it was interesting in the meta sense too. Yeah, they choose not to kick a 55-yard field goal. In today's NFL, that seems very odd to me. And then what's even more odd is Mayo says, "Yeah, Sly was struggling before the game." Wouldn't you just cut the guy then? Like if a guy can't make a 55-yard field goal on a nice day, that's not a kicker that you want. There's guys kicking 68-yarders now.
A couple things. I want to go back to your first question too, Fred, because I think it relates to the conversation we had a couple of weeks ago about Dan Campbell and your philosophy. And I think that this coaching staff, obviously, you've got a new head coach, new coordinators, et cetera. But I don't, the philosophy of Campbell has been consistent. He's ultra aggressive. Maybe that's a reflection of his background. He's an offensive guy, played tight end in the NFL. Very aggressive mentality offensively. And I'm starting to wonder, like, is Gerard managing some of these games like a guy who played his whole career on defense, and then his only experience on the coaching side of things, is under a guy like Bill? I mean, I think back to what Bill would have done in recent years in that same situation, and I'm almost positive he would have eschewed going for it on 4th and goal and instead kicked the field goal to keep the team in the game. And, I consider him the best of all time. So I think that, I wonder about the background of the thinking of coaches. And when you're young and maybe a decision didn't work out the first time, do you have the tendency the next time to second guess that first decision you made and go in a different direction? And that tends not to work out. I think finding consistently a philosophy that you're going to manage your team by and coach by. And obviously each situation is different and has to dictate it. But I'm just wondering now the overarching, part of this for him. And going back to the field goal situation, I
want to give you credit because that's a very interesting point, is that you're by nature conservative because you feel that it's almost how you look at the game, is that you're looking at a game as a field position game instead of looking as an aggressive game of scoring. You understand what I'm saying? Like it's because you're not even flipping the field that much if you punt on a 55-yard. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not even flipping the field that much. Go ahead.
Yeah, and to your point, and I think this and it's too early to tell. I mean, the sample size is just not great enough to tell, even with 11 games of a sample, I think. Regarding the field goal situation, I know the Rams kicker because I was in the Rams booth. He was struggling kicking in that direction pregame. And in fact, I mentioned it before he missed in the other direction. And I heard Joey Sly afterwards say the same thing, that he had issues. I think the wind conditions yesterday were a lot trickier around the field. And we talked about that actually on a pregame show with Joey about any situation you go into. It's always different down on the field. In most cases, when you look at the flags at the top of the stadium, they're not indicative of what it's like down on the field. So that I think Sean McVay late in the game had a chance to re-up the score to 2 possessions differential, and he decided to punt and forego what would have been, I think, a 53, 54-yard field goal try going in that same direction. But the other thing about that, too, though, is that if you're Bryce Baringer, and I think he'd be the first to say this, I mean, your job now as the punter, you've made that decision, you got to pin them deep.
Yeah.
And they didn't do that.
Right.
And I keep going back. I think the big thing for me yesterday, all the coaching decisions, aside, and part of this is coaching because it's the way they tried to defend the Rams with Nakua and Kupp and Stafford. It's the Rams dominate. Jerome Mayo said last week, I'm going to challenge the team to win the line of scrimmage. I thought the Rams controlled the line of scrimmage. I thought they controlled the game. Time of possession is, in my opinion, in that game, irrelevant. The Rams had 2 scoring drives, 14 points on plays, 3 plays, 54 seconds. The Patriots had, I think, 3 possessions of 5 minutes plus and got 2 field goals and a punt out of those 3 possessions. But the Rams had first down plays of 18, 18, 12, 12, 25, and they had a second down play of 69. So I mean, they were able in one play to get themselves from the 30 to midfield time and time again yesterday.
Yeah, time of possession sometimes can be a little bit misleading. I wonder, was that side of the stadium, because you hear that a lot, is that side of the stadium always like that, or is this because of that video screen thing that they put in? It's like the light in the Dallas stadium. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think the video screen has actually made it a little bit more favorable for kickers, even though there's still that opening and it can play tricks. What I've gathered the last couple of years is that it's not actually as unpredictable as it used to be for them. But again, I'm just going by what Sly said after the game and what we saw in pregame warmups, particularly again in my case, being in the Rams booth, what was happening, talking about the Rams kicker having some issues in that direction.
Yeah.
The Rams. Say
Rams.
Say Rams again for me, please, Bob.
The Rams.
Oh, nice.
The Rams.
No, you make them sound somehow more distinguished when you say it that way.
Well, Hardy's from rural Michigan.
They enunciate perfectly.
No, they go Rams.
I've long held a fascination with Bob Soci's pronunciation of the short A vowel.
Really?
I find it delightful. He sounds like an aristocrat. He really does.
He does.
Are you of noble blood, Bob Socci?
No, that sound is very misleading. Let me tell you, noble blood, Fred. No,
you're a Mid-Atlantic guy.
No family crest hanging on the wall downstairs. Nothing like that.
You a Mid-Atlantic guy?
I've spent time.
Where are you from?
I'm from upstate New York, but I did spend a lot of time. I did spend a lot of time in the Mid-Atlantic, and I really picked up a lot of my, I think, accent, if you will, dialect, whatever, in the Southwest. I went to school in Dayton, Ohio, and I had a tendency to pick up a lot of that Southwestern Ohio manner of speaking. So
that's to your advantage.
Maybe that is sneaked into in my.
You must have been an all-star student getting into that Dayton area.
Yeah, all-star, but not all world.
Did you go to University of Dayton?
I wasn't good enough to get into the schools I wanted to go to, so I went to the University of Dayton.
You and Craig Kilborn, Dan
Patrick.
Oh, Dan Patrick. Dan Patrick went to University of Dayton.
And Father Guido.
Huh?
Father. It wasn't. This campus is much nicer than the city, Fred. It's a good school. It's really become a much better school. No. It's also the alma mater of a number of former NFL coaches, including Chuck Noll. I think he's the most prominent and most worthy of mentioning here. But also Father Guido Sarducci. He might be a little bit too old.
Oh, no. We're very familiar with Father Guido Sarducci.
Don Novello.
First host of Saturday Night Live that was a character and not the actual person. There's a band from Dayton, Ohio that Adam 12 will love you forever if you can name. What band is from Dayton, Ohio? Can you think of a band off the top of your head from Dayton, Ohio? Adam 12 will love you forever.
I'm going to guess it's got the alternative.
Yes, and the guy threw a perfect game in high school, the lead singer.
Lead singer threw a perfect game in high school in Dayton, Ohio. I should know this. I don't.
All right. Well, you missed a chance to make a friend.
They're called Guided by Voices, Bob. Look them up.
But you know what?
I just completely ignored you.
I still love you anyway.
You know what, Adam? I hope I make up for it if I say that I really appreciate your environmental consciousness and conscientiousness.
Thank you, Bob.
You're a man after my heart.
Thank you,
Bob. What was the name of the band that Adam just said?
What was the name of the band?
Yeah. You tell me. He just told you. What was the name of it?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
We were all talking over each other.
Everybody's talking.
There's a delay, and Bob is very much based on what I heard yesterday. You and Zoe talking about. You had an odd choice for pump-up music as you were going to the game yesterday. Tell everybody the band you were listening to and what song you were enjoying to get ready to broadcast yesterday.
It was on a playlist that began with Pearl Jam and continued a little bit later with a Coldplay song. Yes,
which Coldplay song?
I believe it was "Every Teardrop Is a Waterfall." I like that little guitar, transition early in that song.
That was the one. That's
it. Yes,
I love that. Every teardrop is a waterfall.
Yes.
What a fun play. Ugh. All right, Bob. Thank you so much. What a great job you did yesterday, as always, Bob. We love you.
You guys were great yesterday again, Bob.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Bob, for the time. We appreciate it.
Gentlemen, thank you.
See you, Bob. You want to talk about some elementary school poetry?
You're listening.
Whoa.
Whoa. I guess I'll shut up. I got nothing else to say. It wasn't that great a line anyway, to be honest.
You know what? Just go ahead and play it. That actually was a nice way to end things.
You should probably do that more often.
Yeah.
Quack, quack. We could start turning into the Ima show and just cut things off.
Just every once in a while, just play something. 12, try it now.
such an fantastic explosion.
98.5, the Sports Hub.
You know, I got an idea for a bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. I just remember we have Pucks and Paddles on Thursday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Oh, I thought it was on Thursday.
You and I both thought it was Thursday forever. It's Wednesday, and I double booked myself that day with my son's parent-teacher conferences.
Oh.
Like starting at the time we are to be at Pucks and Paddles. But I went ahead and rearranged all those, and I'm now going to do them virtually as opposed to in person. So we'll be there, Fred.
It's like I don't think I've had an in-person parent-teacher conference since COVID.
I like the in-persons.
I do too. I would prefer it too, but I always feel like I'm intruding on these people's lives. They don't seem to want it. All right, go ahead.
Well, they're scheduled for 5 minutes.
Yes.
And,
I mean, I've always learned so much from the the history teacher. What are you going to tell me?
Oh, yeah, I don't want to talk about the kids so much. I just want to talk about the subject matter. I just want to have a nice visit.
Yeah, you're a buff.
Yeah. Boy, did I get a lot of emails at the end of last week that I haven't had a chance to reply to most of them about the chainsaw. Holy jeez. And a lot of people attacking us for not knowing that there's a Home Depot right here in Waltham. But we all have our favorite Home Depots.
Yeah.
Wallach, you have yours.
Out in Natick, yep.
Yeah, I have actually two, but, I'll go to a couple of different ones. But just a quick update. I did some tree work on Saturday. The boy and I were out there. And lo and behold, who rides up on his four-wheeler but the savior? That would, of course, be Roger, who heard that we were working, and he came down with another tool that I now have to consider and put into the mix because I went to Home Depot on Friday. I was overwhelmed at the selection. I couldn't wrap my head around what to do, what brand to buy. There's too much. It's like going to the toothpaste aisle at CVS. Now I don't know what to do. There's too many choices. I don't know what to buy. Mm-hmm. So we went out there and we're just going to go pole trimmer. We're just going to take some limbs down. We'll worry about the trees later on. And then Roger showed up. You know what we used to take down a couple of smaller trees? Reciprocating saw. We just went ahead and 12.
That's good.
And Roger is a man who knows his tools. This is a guy who can build and fix anything. You know what he brought down? You know the brand that he brought down? Cobalt.
Jeez,
I didn't even consider Cobalt. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. The Lowe's, store brand? He's like, you're going to be impressed. Oh, were we impressed. We took down trees that were big enough that we had to strap and rope them off to get them to fall in the right direction, Fred, with a reciprocating saw.
I got an interesting one. This is Hardy. If during a round of golf, because this is kind of like on the same page.
Sure.
During a round of golf, have you ever paused or ended your round of golf to observe some work that the golf course maintenance team was doing? I'm a golf course superintendent, and whenever we are doing bigger project, we get tons of questions from members, which I'm sure is a lot of fun. That's from Kyle.
I don't want to bother those guys when they're working, and I also abhor slow play. So I am generally the guy who is trying to move the group along as opposed to the one who's holding us up. So no, I have never stopped and talked to them about the actual work being done. But I get a good look at it. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you in like super invested in what the club's doing? Do you want to see if they're cutting corners?
No. Because at my club, it is a privately owned club, and they're just gonna do what you do, and you're gonna be happy with it.
Of course.
There isn't a greens committee. There isn't any of that stuff going on.
Because my father, and my parents, but my father does free work for this Teleco village that he lives in. They live in this huge. I think there's 6,000 people in this. 6,000, maybe 6,000. I don't know what it's 6,000 homes or people or something. And they had across the street from them, the main road. They had a clubhouse with a restaurant and a pro shop for one of their golf courses. One day, a guy was walking out drunk, one of the employees, and he got nailed by a car and died. And then the place burned down. It burned down a year and a half ago. When I tell you that there is nothing there, I am not exaggerating. They have done not one thing because those old idiots can't get it together to approve anything. And my father's like, you don't understand. No, I think I do. It's East Tennessee. It probably costs 7 cents to build a place. Like, I'm pretty. He's like, it's complicated. Like, there's tax reasons, and I'm like, is there? Is there tax reasons? There's no taxes in Tennessee.
Probably a guy living next door that has all the lumber materials and cement mix in his backyard. He could go start it today if he really wanted to.
It's just so aggravating. My father will never admit that anything is off kilter with that place. I said, isn't it frustrating? There used to be a restaurant right across. It was a good restaurant. Like, why can't they get it together? They could build something. Well, their plans have to be improved, and there's tax reasons. Freddie, you don't just understand. Then why does everything else get built everywhere else? Why does a skyscraper go up in like a year and a half, but they can't put some hick restaurant on this property?
Because you get too many people involved. And listen, there's some other I like where you play, Fred. I don't know if you have like an actual stake in it in the golf course and the club and stuff, but I think you do, and there's probably like committees and panels and stuff.
There's
they get
a whole
together and
bunch of stuff going on.
Talk about that
privy
stuff,
to.
but yeah, it's like, no, we're going to do it, and here's what we're doing next year, and thank you, and hope you like it.
They have a vote, and I just vote against everything because I'm like, I'm never there, so I don't want to spend any more money.
How did your father react to you challenging him that way?
Oh, he loved it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
he loved it.
Justin
you should talk to him about abortion. He's got a lot of theories on that too.
All right.
They're just the kids are coming out and they're just killing them right there when they come out, shooting them in the head.
Do that to your father.
No, that's what my father's.
Oh, your father says that.
Yeah. My father's like, he's like, you know what they're doing.
He must have seen He must have seen the debate. That's exactly what was discussed.
He's like, you know what they're doing. He's like,
yeah,
they're killing 4-year-olds.
That's right.
Justin wants to know.
President-elect told us,
and I'm not positive he's wrong. That's the thing. Is that I can't argue with him.
You just don't want to have the debate.
No, I make fun of him like he's wrong. Like, I don't know what the hell. Like, at a certain point, like it's like I don't. He watches the news constantly. Like, I don't watch the news. Maybe he's right. Like, at a certain point, I don't know. He babbles enough garbage, and I try to counter it, and then he'll get on his booger-soaked phone and pull something up, and I'm like, I don't know if it's real or not. You've lost me. You're sitting around paying attention to all this stuff. I'm trying to get my life together. I don't have time for this nonsense.
Justin wants to know, have I ever assisted with or closely observed a hydrant flushing?
Oh. Can we save these for, the segment? I mean,
these are getting pretty deep.
But now, I mean, I already saw this one, so it wouldn't have been good for you guys to ask this one. I do press my nose against the glass when they're doing that on my street. That is a good time.
Have you guys ever seen a hydrant flushing in your life? Did you know?
I have.
I have.
Hell yeah, they have.
I am so not present. That just tells me to get more present.
Oh, we get hydrant flushing
Fred,
all the time in Natick.
You wouldn't believe the water that comes out of those things.
Yeah. I'd imagine there's quite a bit of pressure.
Oh, shoosh.
Adam, does that get you upset that all that water is being wasted?
You know what?
You go out there with like glasses and just fill them up.
I mean, it's no good because that's the whole reason they're flushing it. I have to be. I'm not upset about that, but I don't want to say disappointed, but I wish that Hardy hadn't done all the trees over the weekend because I would like to have come down this coming weekend and given them a hand.
Oh, there's more.
Are there more?
There are
more.
Nice.
I'm less sad now.
Okay.
Maybe we make a plan this weekend.
I have an email that is complaining about Adam 12. I don't get this myself. This has to do with the Around the NFL segment that we have every Monday at 8 o'clock. I get we're reviewing football, but it's just too much. I love all the music in general, but you need to turn it down more when everyone is talking. Thanks. I love Adam 12. He's awesome. Love the music, but I don't have his email.
It's just a level situation. Adam, what's your email for everyone?
It's adam12@bbgi.com.
Oh, they didn't even
Company
give you
man.
95 the sports hub.
So yeah,
I'm sure you could use that too. I mean, I guess try it, see if it comes through. But yes, I will endeavor to keep the levels on the Around the NFL background music bed a little bit lower.
Oh, and somebody wants Nick to construct a daily or weekly list of the music beds that we play. And,
yeah, I'll
put
work
them
on
the
that too.
website.
No, that's something a lot of people have been asking about. And thank you for the compliments on the music. I do put a lot of thought into that, and I'll put together some playlists before the end of the year.
Take it easy.
If you're curating, I mean, people are going to want to know. You can't open the gallery and not tell people who the painters are. You know what I'm
Put
saying?
those little things, little squares on the wall, Fred. Tell them what's what.
Absolutely. All right. That's enough emails for the day. Let's call it a day with the emails. All right. We'll be back with our award-winning stack segment. we're Toucher and Hardy. The Stack is brought to you by D'Angelo Grilled Sandwiches, freshly grilled, freakishly good. The D'Angelo Classic Steak and Cheese Savory Steak and melty American cheese piled high on golden brown bread. Devour one today. All right, Hardy, what is going on?
You know what I think is going on today? I'm going to head over and get myself a little pencil sharpener for right here in the studio. We got all these pencils. I like using the pencils. Wouldn't it be nice to have a little motorized pencil sharpener right here, Fred?
I thought about getting a pencil sharpener.
You know what? Christmas is right around the corner, but I might jump the gun.
Look at that.
Might be happening today.
You're going to go to a brick and mortar place, huh? And just walk in and
it's
knock
an
it
excuse. It's an excuse. The
Well,
Home
no,
Depot, do they sell pencil sharpeners, Hardy?
It's more of an office.
Could be Office Depot.
Office Depot.
I'll bet you could get one at your local hardware store, Hardy. I'll bet you they got them out on the back because they got everything there.
They got everything, and if they don't, they got it downstairs. Hold on, let me go through this trap door here and
Love
go
it.
down in the basement.
Love it.
All right, Adam 12 is insisting on something again, and
It's a feel-good story.
and that is to bring us up to speed on. This was 97 straight wins and a 22-0 season for who?
It's the Watertown field hockey team, I believe. And I saw this, a very feel-good story. It's the two. You have the story in front of you, Hardy.
No, I
don't remember the name of the two.
What's going on?
I don't know.
But it
we
was,
can't even make fun of it because it's a high school team.
I don't know what's happening.
Well,
so now it's just going to sit here.
It is. It's these two upperclassmen. They're seniors. They made they made the team as freshmen, the Watertown field hockey team, and they went undefeated their entire high school run.
That is good.
It's impressive. And the first thing I thought of when I saw the story over the weekend and shared in the Stack is it brought me back to the 1992 through 1995 Wakefield High School Jazz Band, and we did the same thing. We had an undefeated run. We had gold medals and first place finishes at every competition that we took place in, under the direction of Miss Kim Smith. So that's where my brain went when I saw that story.
How do you judge art?
You have three former jazz musicians, and they listen to all these high school jazz bands play. And they tell you what you did well and what you didn't do well. And then they give you...
So it's just based on their opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but there's certain, what is this?
This is crappy trombone shorty.
Yeah, I'm not a huge...
You gotta see trombone shorty. You gotta see
think
trombone shorty.
I would be a big trombone shorty fan, not so much.
No one's a big trombone.
I love the concept.
Shorty.
I don't like the music.
No, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, this is terrible.
Yeah, I don't like
This sounds like filler music for, Horizon Sports when they're doing the
got a good trumpet
Big
player
Sky
in there,
Conference.
Hitting those high notes.
You got an ear for it.
I do.
I'm surprised that you were involved in competitive art. It just seems to be like something that's up to the person consuming it.
It's fair.
But fair enough. If you like these things to be judged and you like art by rule book.
There's a lot of different competitions like that. Solo and ensemble. That was one where you could go and perform just solo pieces and somehow get graded for it.
Would Guided by Voices win any kind of music contest?
Absolutely not.
And that's your favorite band. They mean so much to you, and they would have been just cast aside by the critics.
All right. Let's move on to another sporting event here. The Grey Cup was contested last night.
Really?
Yes.
We are hitting all.
Wow.
Women's field hockey and now
So
Canadian football.
Which two Canadian teams participated in this tournament, this final?
The Toronto Argonauts and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Oh, nice.
How do you know the Toronto Argonauts? Do you remember? Do you remember why you would know the Toronto Argonauts?
Is that who Doug Flutie played for when he played in the Canadian League?
No.
This is a bigger story. Rocket Ishmael. They signed Rocket Ishmael out of college, out of Notre Dame, if you'll recall.
So they have the captains out there in midfield before the game starts, and the referee is getting ready to do the coin toss. He hands the coin to the CEO of Coinbase Canada or whatever it is, and he's going to do the coin toss. He forgot one thing, though.
Please do us the honors. Check. I have to ask, right? What do you want? Toronto, you're the visiting team. What's your choice? Heads is called. Okay, Lucas, take two. Now you can do it. Heads is a call. Okay, it's a tails. So So you've won the toss.
Okay, so there we go. Yeah, sorry about that. I owe you some Timbits for screwing that one up. We'll head over to Tim Hortons afterward. I had you toss a coin there before I actually asked if you wanted the heads or tails. Oh boy. Oh, I really put my toucan backwards on that one.
Was that the same guy talking the whole time?
That was the head referee.
Why did his accent change?
It sounds a bit French, doesn't it? Yeah.
It got French to not French pretty quick. It makes me think he was putting on airs. All right, here's the.
But somebody went on to win. Then congratulations to that.
Well, that was the story that needed to be.
And a Rouge Point song.
These are the stories we didn't get to. This is the stack. You want one that you're really going to like, Fred?
I do have a question. I'll give you 1 penny if you can answer this correctly. It's
okay.
1 penny. You have $1,000,000 to 1 that you would not. Who texted me the Watertown High School field hockey program is amazing?
Water. Is it?
I know.
Yeah, I mean, Adam knows right away. Huh?
It's Rucker.
No.
No?
Oof.
Wait, no, he's a lacrosse guy.
You wouldn't know Adam as much as Hardy and John. It's a little disappointing if you don't know the Watertown High School field hockey team. No, the Watertown High School field hockey program is amazing with an exclamation.
Oh, Dan Roach. Dan Roach.
I didn't tell you the exclamation point.
Yeah, if you had done that, I would have gotten it.
Yeah, that's
it's Dan Roach. Yeah.
News from our friend Gary Tanguay.
Oh, yeah. Wait, I got a new project.
He does.
Yep.
This
I put something together. Who's funding it? Yours truly.
Actor Gary Tanguay has joined the cast of A Nightmare with Casey Sherman, a new true crime immersive stage play written by USA Today #1 best-selling true crime author Casey Sherman, which will debut at Boston's historic Wilbur Theater March 26, 2025.
That's no joke.
Jesus.
The Wilbur.
So it's like having a residency at the Wilbur?
We don't know. Tanguay will
I'm going to be in Wicked. Check it out.
God, what a headache.
Did you just see Tanguay coming during that big back room for himself?
Yeah, give me some room.
Now
Tanguay
Rocky
needs
had
to
a
stretch
cut-off
out.
leg to deal with.
I'm the only one here who's been on TV.
Everyone back away. This is my place.
Yeah, let me tickle the floorboards. Tanguay needs to get into the process.
There has to be a local tie.
I was told when we do theater, there's back rub lines.
It's
we get
awesome.
in a circle and rub each other's backs, like the weird kids in high school.
A local kid.
That's right. He will perform dual roles in the production.
Yeah, one side of my face is a monster, and the other side of my face is the handsome man you're looking at now.
He will play legendary writer Norman Mailer, who is in a race with fellow.
I play him quite fey.
What controversy?
I'm Norman Mailer. I'm drunk.
Who's in a race with fellow literary icon Kurt Vonnegut to break the story of a serial killer.
Yeah, now I got a white afro.
The so-called Cape Cod vampire in Provincetown in 1969.
I left my family. I had 8 kids and left them and moved to New York. That's what Vonnegut did.
You know what? I talked with Casey Sherman about this book at another book signing here recently. This is probably going to be really good.
Yeah, it is. Vonnegut had 7 kids. He lived on the Cape. His wife took care of everything so he could sit and write. And right when he got famous, he went, see you later.
And
moved to New York City.
Nothing like a good tushy.
Just like I said, see you later to television because I knew the bright lights of Broadway were on the way.
So Gary Tanguay.
Hey, I'm Norman Mailer. Now I'm Vonnegut. What are you going to do about it?
Gary tackled the silver screen. Now he's going on stage where real actors go to show their chops.
I'm the guy who wrote Slaughterhouse 5. You might remember me.
Look at me, everybody. I'm Kurt Vonnegut.
Hey, I was in Back to School.
No. Were you? Oh, that's right. You were.
I was in Back to School.
You were in Back to School.
Do you think Tanguay is going to have like a Fred Willard type of persona on stage, like in Waiting for Guffman, where he's going to do little asides to the audience? I hope they have a good travel agent.
Time out. Time out. Now listen. Mailer was a real drunkard. These clowns wouldn't let me hold the bottle that had an XXX on it, so I have no way to show you what a drunkard he was.
But just Trust me, you and I both know this could have been a lot better if I'd been getting a little artistic license at this point in the production.
Where's the balding afro wig? No one's going to know I'm Vonnegut. Yeah. Allow me to hold. I got to hold one of my works. Yeah. Breakfast of Champions, baby.
I'm a writer. I'm a drunk. Get it?
Give me a bowl of cereal. Look, in a number one foam hand. Breakfast of Champions.
At the very least, this could take her mind off of her pain for a few hours.
I like the role of Sally, but I suggest something that broad with bigger cans. That's what the audience wants. Give them what they want. You know what I'm saying?
So,
yeah, flesh.
Congrats.
Let's cut that skirt up a little higher.
Congrats to Gary Tanguay.
Well, he's got a legitimate production going on.
Good for you. Does.
It's a legitimate theater production at the Wilbur. And if it's playing more than one night, that's going to be making some money. I know. Oh, man.
Here comes Zolak.
Hi, buddy. Hi, Scott. Zolak saw someone who looked like me, so it's going to be very insulting very soon.
We can't hear you.
All right, that'll do it for us. Everyone have
some microphones. Yes.
a great day. Bye.